Okay, good morning, everyone. Like I said, good morning, afternoon, evening, whatever it may be for you. Today, we are starting off with episode 7 of Meet the Streamer. Today's guest is RageProc. How you doing, RageProc?
I'm good. I'm awake. Hi.
How awake are you?
Scale 1 to 10, probably about a 7.
Okay. Rage was so kind to basically stay up all night. She lives in, I want to say New Zealand. Is that correct?
Yep, North Island. So North Island, New Zealand. Yep.
Okay, so she is about I don't know, was it like 12 hours ahead of me? So it's actually going on Friday. What is it, like Friday
It's
early
midnight.
morning, midnight for you? Yeah. So
Yep.
it's
So it's,
Thursday. It's Thursday 8 a.m. for me, and it's Friday midnight for her. So a little bit of a
yep.
time difference there. So hopefully she
Just a
give me,
word. I'm from the future.
yeah, she give me some lottery numbers and we can split the winnings.
I wish. I wish.
So Rage, I appreciate you joining us today, and like we've spoken a little bit in the past, played a little bit together in the past in Warhammer. But if you don't mind telling the community a little bit about yourself, so uh, besides New Zealand, what do you do for hobbies? How long you been gaming, and how long you been streaming?
Oh God. Oh man. How long have I been streaming? Probably. When did Anthem come out?
When did what come out?
Pretty much. Anthem, that EA game. I
I have
started streaming about the start of like I was like I'm terrible with time. Like time is like my brain doesn't like register like time. So when I first started streaming, it would have been around when Anthem came out, and then when WoW Classic relaunched, when the first WoW Classic came out, and that would have been about the time I injured myself to why I ended up on the internet. Um,
is that like 2015, 2016? I don't really know about WoW Classic. Never played it myself.
oh my God, it must be around 7 years. Must be about 7 years now.
Okay, so
8 years. Yeah.
okay, so like 2017, somewhere in that ballpark, 18, somewhere in that.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
That's when I remember first sort of streaming was Anthem and WoW Classic, and I did some like ESO and yeah, that's about it. Yeah. And
and
then what was the other questions?
well, and other hobbies besides streaming and gaming. What else do you like to do?
Oh God, I used to have like I've never really had like lots of hobbies in general, but like before I injured myself, like and then like there's before injury and then after injury. Like I used to like drive in my car heaps, and then yeah, and then I can't really do that anymore. So and then I broke it, so it's sitting in the garage.
Oh,
Hobbies have always pretty much been like computer games, man. Like ever since computer games came out, because they like were the only thing that sort of like made well, they could hold my brain's attention, if that makes any sense. Like I could like just like how would it be, It- um, like you could tune out the world and you could just focus on that. So like like everything became background noise. So
yeah.
it's probably one of the only things. So that's when I first started like getting into gaming, and that would have been. Oh, back in the day, bro, yeah, I don't know if you know like Blockbuster and United Video, like the video shops.
Hmm.
You could like me and my brothers, we used to um go and hire out a PlayStation on the weekend, and then Diablo 2, like go hiring from a video shop a PlayStation just so you could play like Diablo on the old thing, and then we couldn't save it because we didn't have a memory card, and I was like, oh shit. And then that was my life ruined after that, after I knew that computer games existed. And then I went from, yeah, because like you'll probably be the same, like, because I was born in the 80s. So like we grew up with like analog, and then we transitioned into like the
Yeah,
digital. So
yeah.
like I remember growing up outside, and then like when I was real young, like like primary school, before I was a teenager, like the rich kid in the area, like his parents, like they had a farm or something like that. They got like one of the first Nintendos, and they had like was it Battle Toads, or like yeah, and the Nintendo gun, and that was like you'd go to his house and you might play some Nintendo, and then we'd just be like outside playing on our BMXs and hurting ourselves and shit.
Yeah, I'm
So, yeah.
kind of similar to that. We certainly had a Blockbuster here in America before they went bankrupt, and as a kid, I always had because I was born in the late '70s. I'm around you, but a little bit older than you, and
Yep. I was
and
85.
yeah, I'm 78, so I'm 7 years older than you. And I remember growing up, and I got my very first Nintendo when I was like, I want to say this is like 1988, somewhere in that ballpark. I got the my first NES, and I never grew up with money. I always grew up pretty, either like low or medium low when it comes to family income. And my parents got divorced when I was 10, and I ended up getting like a Super Nintendo for like a birthday or Christmas or something like that, but I could never afford to buy games. So my dad would, on the weekends when he would see us, we would stay at his house over the weekend. He would go to Blockbuster and we would rent games. And so, like me and my sister, we would play Nintendo games that we would rent, but we had the same problem. We would only have them for a couple days. We had no saves. We had no like saved progression, nothing like that. It was just it was like 24 to 48 hours of like family gaming, but then it was over with until the next week, and then it was a different game because he could only afford to rent one game at a time for us. So it
Yep.
had to be a game that my sister liked and that I had to like. And my sister is 4 years younger than me. So it was kind of like
Oh,
the
yep.
games that she wanted to play, I didn't really want to play. But just to get a game playing, I had to kind of like agree to terms. Otherwise, we had nothing. So
Yeah, that kind of sucks.
yeah, so that was but it was again, it's first world problem when you think about okay, video game problem. So yeah, no, I definitely, Blockbuster. And then as I got older, when I became like when I first moved out of my parents' house and I became like, a quote unquote an adult, uh, I bought a Xbox and then I got it modded so I could copy games from Blockbuster, then I would burn them onto CDs. So Blockbuster at that point had a
RCA, oh, you're
yeah,
one of
yeah,
them.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Very, very much so. But Blockbuster had a thing for us where for like $20 a month you could rent whatever you want for as long as you wanted. No late fee. So this is like pre
Oh, nice.
Netflix.
Yep.
This is like pre Netflix. So I would go to Blockbuster and I would rent a game, bring it home, copy it, return it that same day, and then rent another game. And I had anytime a brand new game came out, I had it almost on day one or a day two without ever buying it. Then I would unfortunately, I hate to say this, but then I would copy those and sell them at school. Well, not at school, but I would sell them to high schoolers. So
Oh, yeah, that stream, the truth
yeah,
comes out. You're a criminal.
so I would sell them to high
Exposed.
schoolers. I had like a
Right.
little vinyl stamper, so I would actually copy the artwork, and
Oh, God.
I had like a cheap inkjet printer, and I would print them out, and I would stamp them on the CDs. I would buy jewel cases, and I would sell them at high schools for like $10 a
Oh, my
pop.
God. You were pirating CDs. Now kids sell their Adderall.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So that was like kind of like my blockbuster and video game thing. So anyway, enough about me incriminating myself. Uh, so streaming. What type of games do you like to stream, and why did you like? Besides the like, what's the main focus of why you like to like? What keeps you streaming
Well,
every day or every week?
I live on the internet, like, as a, like, because like, I injured I had, like, a crazy long story short, I injured the nerves of my back, so, like, I'm pretty much unemployable here in New Zealand. So and because I always liked, I grew up on, like, MMOs, I guess you could say, so I went straight from, like, Diablo type scenario and then straight into, like, because talking about the first PCs and stuff, like, I could, because I had two older brothers, and it's similar sort of scenario, like, single, like, solo mother, and then he had partners and stuff, but, like, I was the youngest of 3, so I got two older brothers. So like I never really had it. I grew up with hand-me-downs and stuff like that. So whenever little money I got, I ended up like first computer type thing I owned was I built my own, and then I ran it through my TV because it had what was it, a AMD Thunderbird 1.1, and then I think I had like a Voodoo with a TV out on it to plug into
Oh,
my 21
fancy.
inch CRT TV to play Wolfenstein 3D back in the
Okay.
day. So, geez, that would have been like what, 18 or 16 meg graphics or something back then? I have no idea what the old Voodoos were, 8 or 16, but or 32. They weren't very big. I don't think it was like a 128 or anything like that.
Yeah.
It was just like one with a TV out. And then when I first sort of like, and that was my first thing. And then the first sort of like games I really started playing would have been, I tried EQ2, but like this is the time because when I was a teenager, this is when like the internet started becoming like more cost effective or like more viable for like New Zealanders in general. And then that's when the MMOs started coming out. So I missed the whole, I never did the RuneScape. I never did the Ultima because that was before me. Like when I actually like got my first job at like 17-ish, that was when like EverQuest 2 was coming out and World of Warcraft was about to drop. So from my late teens has pretty much just been MMOs. So I pretty much played like all the well, not all. Like it had to be specific. Like I liked medieval fantasy MMOs.
Okay.
So because I think it probably all started with that Diablo 2 playing on the PlayStation, just that gritty feeling, binging for like 18 hours. You can't turn it off because there's no memory card. The lights are off and you're dungeon crawling, and then you're on a you hang out with your brothers in the lounge and and then like so I guess it like sort of like ingrained like the nostalgia of like a fantasy role play type games, and then the fact that like a game sort of has to have like player agency to like hold my attention. If a game doesn't have like a robust sort of player agency sort of a vibe, and that's where you're like I'm talking about like where you build your character. So like if there's like gear slots and like theory crafting and transmorging, like different appearance, that sort of stuff. So if there's like stuff where you can like like player agency is the easiest way to describe it. And then so yeah, into the WoW was pretty much my first no lifer. And then after Burning Crusade, that's when they started changing shit. So I started getting into after I got into Warhammer Online, the original. So I was a two-handed chosen back in the day. So I was playing that right from live until closing, and then I went into WildStar, I think, because I was
Okay.
playing, and then I went to WildStar, and then as WildStar came out, everyone ditched WildStar and went to Terra, and then when everyone ditched WildStar and went to Terra, I think I went to what did I go to after that? I think I went back to. Oh no, I went to SWTOR. So I went to Knights of the Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, which is another Mythic game. So it's the same game engine as Warhammer.
Hmm?
So it's like it was very easy to get into it because like you had the same sort of guard mechanics, but there's like a whole bunch of extra shit and you got lightsabers. But then that game died because it couldn't handle like the performance and the fidelity, and like Ilum, which was supposed to be their PvP zone. They spend all, long story short, they spent all their money on the the story aspect, and the game engine couldn't handle the PvP side of it. And then just on and off, backwards and forwards through, and tried WoW, Legion, and and then in between those, and I think I know liked Anthem for a bit, which was that mech type game where you, yeah, but then EA bloody screwed that game up, so that was disappointing. And then yeah, just I don't really play that many type of games because like they can't really hold my attention. And I generally like MMOs for the fact that like I'm a how would you describe it? I don't mind. I like being around people, but I like being by myself as well. So even if I'm by myself, I still want to be, you know, be alone but surrounded by people, I guess you could say. So I want to be doing stuff in a larger setting with other people, even if I'm just going to be doing it by myself. So I think it like keeps me like connected because I'm like a homebody. I don't really get to I don't do much in the outside world. So I guess I sort of still feel like a human being, I guess, with the you know the subconscious aspect of being social with other humans, even if you come into my stream, I am probably like a bit of a cunt. So oops. So like people probably think you like people. I'm like, yeah. I actually do like people. People that push fucking buttons. Like if only people push more W. So yeah.
I'm kind of similar in. I mean,
Like,
my gaming history is kind of similar to yours, but I was a late bloomer when it came to MMOs. Like I didn't. I grew up hearing, not grew up hearing, but I remember hearing about games like EQ1, Ultimate Online, and when where I grew up kind of in a religious family at for a while, and my family told me that games like EQ and Ultima One were basically almost like games of the devil. They would teach you bad behaviors, and they were rot your brain, and they were bad for you, and they were all about demonic spells and things like that. I
all
never
true.
got.
All true. All true. What are you talking about? This is all true. What the fuck?
I never got into them, and I was always kind of afraid of them. And then in 2000, I want to say, yeah, it was like 2000. I was working at a job. So I would have been like 20, maybe around 20, 21 years old, somewhere in that ballpark. And a coworker would bring in his computer, and he would play Dark Age of Camelot at work. He would bring his computer in every day, lug it in, hook it up to the work TV. Worked in the NOC data center, so he just sat in the room, air conditioned room, for 8 hours a day with no one. So he would bring his computer in, and he
Fucking
would,
true. Like the original DGen, OG DGen right there.
yeah,
Fucking,
yeah.
yeah, Camelot, fucking
So he would bring,
workplace internet.
yeah. So he would, yeah,
Jesus.
he would bring his computer in every day, and he would play Dark Age of Camelot. And I went into his office one day, and I'm like, hey, what are you playing? And he showed me the game, and he was playing like a Celt Nightshade. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. What are you doing? So he got me hooked on playing Dark Age in like 2000, 2001. That was like my first ever experience into MMOs. Like, and then I was like hooked after that. So I kind of followed your trend a little bit. I went from Dark Age. I played that for about 8, 9 years, and then I went to Warhammer Online when it first came out in 2008. Um, I left Dark Age and went to Warhammer Online. I didn't like it. I hated Warhammer Online, the original. It wasn't fun. I thought it was boring. Just I just didn't like it. So I quit it after uh about a year or two. Well, whenever Star Wars: The Old Republic came out, is when I quit and I went and I played that. And I played that for a little bit, but I couldn't stand it because the PvP sucked, and
Yep.
storyline was cool, but I like open world PvP. I didn't like the whole
Yeah.
instanced PvP aspect of things. So again, I left that, and then I went and I played Rift. And I played Rift.
Oh, that's another one I played. Yeah,
Yeah,
I know Live Drift. I was a cleric fucking until they nerfed the two hand spec.
well,
Fucking nerfed my spec.
I played Rift until they met with an update where they made PVE gear as good or better than PvP gear for PvP reasons. So it gave no one a reason to PvP gear grind. Like you
Yeah.
just do dungeons, and then you dominate PvPers. And I'm not a PvE player at all. I never have been. I prefer to grind my way through via almost PvP. So I don't like doing dungeons. Don't like doing mines. Never liked it. So I played Rift for several years, and then I kind of took a break because then like nothing happened while there. And then in 2016, I found Warhammer Online Turn, and I've been here ever since. That's kind of like my little story of that.
Yeah, I think when did I come into ROR? I think I came into ROR. If I look at like, I know I made my guild on Destruction in like 2018. So that's how long I've been playing. Since probably probably the end of whenever Tier 4 sort of launched. So as soon as like, because when did I don't think they had cities when I first joined. I think it was just
No,
straight up forts, and you can get the invader gear from the
Fortress.
doing a fort. Yeah, and then back when like an NG magnet would pull you from the Lord's room, from the ground, from the Lord, and then it would slam you into the roof. I don't remember that. But the old NG magnets, you'd
Hmm.
be like on the Lord, and then the NG would put a magnet down, and then everyone on the Lord would get literally pulled to the ceiling and slam into the fucking ceiling, and then order would zerg down from the top. And it's like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, balance, nice. Yeah.
Yeah, pulls in Warhammer to me have always been buggy, and I've said it many times. I wish they would just remove all pulls from the game because to me they're just broken across the board. Mostly
Yeah,
because of
class it's unfun mechanics.
well, most
They're like fun if it's not happening to you. I think they like
yeah
deter it.
they feel
Nothing worse than being a tank and then a Mara pulls you, and it's
yeah
like,
they
bro,
feel
I'm a
cheesy.
fucking tank.
They feel
Yeah,
cheesy.
it's
Yeah,
like
they feel
Jesus
cheesy.
Christ.
They feel cheesy,
Yeah,
and also because this game is based in Europe and France. If you don't live basically in Europe, your latency kind of is just shit sometimes for some people.
you'll be over 200. You'll be literally like, yeah. If you're not in Europe, everyone's latency is pretty much over 200.
Yeah,
Nothing you
so
can do about it.
so what happens to you when your screen doesn't know what they see, so the pulls don't sync up, and people people
Oh, bro,
complain.
there's been many a time where I've clicked on a post and door, gone inside, and then
Yeah,
the bloody Maripool or an NG or a Rift, and I've been pulled outside even though I've clicked through the bloody door. It's like, or I've gone through the door and then someone's like, it just happened to me like the other day. I like went through posting and then someone did their champ challenge and I was already on the inside, so it champ challenged me. Then all of a sudden it ported me back out. So then all of a sudden I was champ challenged outside, and I was like, oh, fuck, piece of shit,
yeah,
fucking shit.
yeah. So I've always been
Yeah,
an advocate to
working as intended, bro. Fucking Jesus. It's a
yeah
feature. It's a feature.
yeah I've been an advocate to just to remove, but that'll never happen. I'm over it now,
No.
but I'm
Oh, I'm not. Fuck that shit. Nothing. I love whinging about fucking everything. Makes me feel better. Tear everything down to build myself up.
so
Yeah.
so besides Warhammer, what games and play currently? Are you still active? Are you like a variety streamer, or do you only really stream Warhammer? What do you stream and play now?
I'm a no lifer. Like I say, like when I play something, I play it. Because like you probably notice, like when I'm playing a side or playing a class, I'll like play that for quite a while. So if anyone saw my stream, they would see me like I don't like flip-flopping. So if I'm gonna play like an order character, it'll be because my mind is like, oh, like I've got this build I want to do, got to gear out that character, and then I'll spend 3 months on that character. I won't be like, oh, yeah, I'm not a big fan of the whole just yeah. So but games like it, I'm honestly like I'm always on the look. Like I think like most people with MMOs now, I think like nearly every MMO person is wanting their forever MMO because it's just a sad fact of the industry that we're we're playing private servers, bro. Like sad one. Like we're 25 years later and we're playing bloody Warhammer private server because the MMO landscape has bloody been like garbage, through free to play models or just greedy corporate. Like we haven't had like actual really, like yeah, like the last actual great MMO that I played like was probably WildStar. Like if we're talking about how it actually played,
Hmm?
would have been WildStar. Like I talk about it on my stream every now and then. It had like a mix of action combat and tab, and that was made by the OG WoW devs that left when Blizzard started going corporate. They all left, and then they formed their I can't remember what it was called. I don't know if it was Carbine or something like that, but they formed their own game studio, and they made their own game engine, and then they made WildStar, and there's a whole bunch of like there's like a feud going on between like the WoW and the people like in the background, like with misinformation and stuff like that. Like it was actively like no one really sort of gave WildStar a chance, and then like WildStar had its issues, but like people seem to forget that it was like a brand new game, and everyone was comparing it to like WoW after like however many years WoW had been out, and people forget that like WoW was failing. Like it had the same problem that every other MMO had, where after the first month everyone was like quitting because people don't like really sort of remember the fact that like when WoW came out, their PvP system was just as bad as a lot of the other PvP systems where there wasn't cross servers. So, you'd be able to get matches on prime time. So for like a 2 hour window, there'd be matches, and then after that 2 hour window, you'd be like waiting, 2 hour wait times to get like a battleground, war zone, like whatever you want, scenario, whatever you want to call it. So the actual population was like hemorrhaging, like it was leaving like what every other happens every other MMO. So like what happened with like SWTOR and Warhammer being a mega server, like so you're paying for, it's like the floor of the subscription model. If you charge a subscription, people need to have access to like all the sort of game aspects of it at all times. You can't be like, oh, but play at Prime. And there was like a whole bunch of like white knighters and like pretty much every MMO I've played that has come around when it comes to like mega server type stuff. The excuses they were giving was, oh yeah, I want it to be server bound, so therefore I know who I'm fighting and blah blah blah, achievements this, and then like, well, like I'll just say to them like, like PvP players are my community, and like if I pay a monthly subscription, I want to have like access not just for 2 hours of the day, because you can work night shift, you can be out of the not in the same country, and to expect people to pay a monthly subscription and only have access to a huge chunk of the game for a small 3 hour prime time window is just. And yeah, WoW was sort of dying from the same sort of bloody issues that all these other sort of games were, but they actually like listened to the community, which is the difference I've noticed, is like you'll have like games, even like SWTOR Warhammer had the same issue. The community was like white knighting for the devs to be like, no, 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 leave it, and then the devs just use that as a like, oh well, the community doesn't want it changed, or they'll just, oh no, I'll correct myself. They would use that as a scapegoat. So you could have a vast majority of the population of the game being like, hey, we can't have access because of the prime time on mega servers, and you could have like an overwhelming majority. You could have like 80% of people going, oh, like fix it. And you could have 20% of people going, no, no, it's fine. And the devs would be like, oh, due to like, oh no, it's fine. And they'd like cherry pick, and then nothing would happen, and then the games would die. Wait, did I even answer the question? Sorry, I go on fucking
Oh, you're
random
good.
rants and tangents.
You're,
Yeah,
no, you're fine. We actually
yeah, I have no idea what the question was, bro.
Logan actually responded, and he said facts. He says BGs and vanilla were horrid for solo and smaller guilds.
Oh yeah, actual garbage. Like I remember I was in the forums on for vanilla, bro. And it was the thing, was like I was literally one of the original posters on the forums of being like, we need cross-realm PvP for the mini games because I'm in New Zealand, I'm paying a subscription, you have no oceanic servers, so I'm on a West Coast server, I don't have access. If you're gonna like make me only be able to play in prime time, then I want my monthly subscription to be, pay per use. So I want you to give me a month's worth of hours, and then I'll log on for the prime time for those 3 hours, and then see how much you fucking like your business model then. But they listened to everyone. Everyone, like the vast majority of the PvP players were like, bros, cross realm, like you got fucking 100 servers with it, and every server had like 15 people off prime time wanting to do bloody matches, and they couldn't get a bloody match. Why can't we like group up with each other? Like 15 times 100, that's a huge chunk of people that have no access to each other. And it's like, I thought it's supposed to be like mass multiplayer online, not we're gonna hide off in our own little fucking shard and then be like e-penning and flexing on that shard. It's like, like, come on, fucking jog on.
Okay.
But yeah.
I never played it myself, so I have no experience with it. So I'll take your word for it. Now, is it better today? Do you have more fun? Do you ever play it now, or do you ever go back?
Um, I go back every now and then, but the problem is like it died for me when they removed talent trees, like the actual original talent trees, and they removed tier sets, and they went like people will either agree with me or they won't on this sort of thing. Like, but my personal opinion for my for myself playing MMOs since this EQ2 and all the way through, and playing growing up, my brothers played like tabletop Dungeons and Dragons, that sort of stuff. So going from that, like my personal opinion is that like MMOs need to have a vertical progression to get player agency, get you invested in the character to a certain point, and then it needs to go horizontal. So my complaint with WoW was because I know life beat Burning Crusade, and as soon as they said we're going to keep on adding on levels and then delegitimizing or making your previous work void just so that they can get you to regrind and makes everything like make well how's it like I invested like 9 months hardcore playing, getting in like the top 5 geared in the server on BC, and then within one expansion it's like all that gear is completely just shit. The greens for the next expansion were better, as well as now I can't use any of that tier set. And then they're like, oh, because I like mained Hunter, and then they started like dumbing it down. So they removed like pet, the whole sort of pet aspect. Like people don't sort of, if you haven't played Classic or you never played back in Live, Vanilla and Burning Crusade, you would have to train and tame, like go around the world. So like Hunters had a flavor to it. So going back to the agency, so like if you got a level 10 cat for example, it would have like no actual attack special like abilities. It would just have like auto attacks. And if you wanted to give it, say for example, a claw and bite, so which would use resources. So if you want to give it a claw and a bite, you would have to go and find those random animals and then tame them and then learn it from them to then be able to. So you'd go around looking for
Oh,
like a random crab, for example, that might have claw rank 1, and you'd go and you tame that fucking random crab, use that crab for a bit till you learnt that ability, and then it would add it to your like ability tree or your ability spell book, and then you'd just abandon that crab, and then you'd pull out your go back to the stables, pull out your cat, and then you would teach your cat rank 1 claw, and then you'd do the same for bite, and then you'd go up through all the ranks. And then apparently that was too hard for fucking people. So they removed that system and they just gave it like, they just removed it. And it's like, oh, that's fucking lame. And then they removed the talent trees and they went to the specialization and they started removing tier sets and then and then it just annoyed me that they kept on going vertical when it made like they spent all that time and effort. Like it it annoyed me on like so many levels, the fact that like they had so many cool zones and like so much cool content that was instantly obsolete because they added like another 10 levels and you'll never go back. So like Twisting Nether, like whatever it was, like Burning Crusade, all of a sudden now it's like Lich King, and then the next one in Pandaria, and you never go back and visit those old zones because they're completely obsolete. You won't use any of the content. And then all of a sudden, years later, they're like, oh, well, now we're going to add like time walking system. And it's like, bros, you could have just quite literally gone, like stopped at level 70 or level 80, and then gone horizontal, and then like made every single raid after that point a level 80 raid. So then they're just building a huge catalog. So then you could come to the game and be like, oh yeah, oh you got Hyjal, you got Sunwell, you got like you'd name all the thing, and then they've got all the different tier sets. So then you could build, because like I was a Beastmaster, right? So the only actual specific Beastmaster gear that I knew of came out like back in Hyjal, which was like some of the shoulder pieces had like plus to pet damage, like plus 2% pet attack damage, or plus 2% pet damage. And then after Hyjal, it became like the next tier set would be like it was for marksman or survival, or and then every expansion they would specifically focus on like one talent one specialization. But yeah, they lost me at TLDR. WoW lost me after Burning Crusade because one, they dumbed it down, two, they didn't go horizontal, and then three, it got just too much system bloat.
So do you like the system that current Warhammer Online uses? That it's kind of a vertical system as well, but then it just kind of just levels off, and you just kind of are what you are. Prefer something like that?
Um,
At least that's how I view it. That's how I view it.
I don't like. Wait, ask me the question again.
I
This
mean,
is what just want to understand the question.
do you like the system that current, Age of Return to Reckoning uses, or even Warhammer, where it's like, to me, it's a vertical system, but then there's just a dead zone where once you're done, you're just done. There is no more progression for you for the most part. You're just done, and when I play your character, for 10 more years, then fine. But chances are, more than likely, your characters are not going to be changing over that 10 years. It just kind of is what it is. Like to have a character like that where once you built it up or once you created it, you can just enjoy it, or do you want a constant progression where he can constantly be adapted as things change? Because Warhammer doesn't really
I
do
want
that, in my
both.
opinion.
I'm fucking greedy. I want both. I want, as what I just mentioned before, I want them like, I don't mind like a grind, right? To get
Hmm.
to like say renown rank 80. Sweet, renown rank 80. But then I would like there to be more tier sets for different builds at renown rank 80, for example. So like I'd like them to like, like I'd like them to actually add an upgrade system for all gear. So like for example, how you got the mayhem gear and you got the ruin gear. Like there's some gear that have got like set bonuses on them that you like for your build, for example. I'd rather them have like an actual upgrade system where you'd spend crests to upgrade the tier of that gear, so you can
Mm.
make that item level solve. So if you wanted to have a ruin set because you wanted the armor buff off whatever the 4-piece or whatever you're going to do, 2-piece of this, 3-piece that, you could say get a piece of fucking mayhem, and then you could invest the crests and then level that mayhem gear all the way up to level 40, renown rank 70 something, to boost the stats and to keep the tier set. That's what I would like them to do. And then to just keep adding more transmogs, because that's what I think is, because one thing, like this is one of my bit of my pet peeve with ROR, and it gets me a bit annoyed with some people in the community, is people go, like the game is meant to be rock, paper, scissors, but the game hasn't actually been rock, paper, scissors for pretty much since the private server came about, when they started making their own tier sets, because the tier sets for certain things has broken the rock, paper, scissors. So you can't go, the game is rock, paper, scissors if the people that are doing the gear aren't adhering to rock paper scissors for every spec, every class. So we've got DPS like hybrid healers for everything. We've got fucking regen out the wazoo. We've got 100% defense procs out. We've got like all these things that were like, oh look, here's a glass cannon build, but the glass cannon build has 100% parry. Oh, here's a DPS, but now it's got a low cooldown heal channel. Oh, here's a range caster with like damage that's equivalent to, if not more than, melee. Like, oh, here's magic or spirit damage, which has a better coefficient for resistances versus physical damage, where you have to like randomly waste points on like weapon skill? You know, why is there no magic penetration stat to make people arbitrarily waste stats to get, you know, because it just forces people into the, it's more efficient. So now it's meta. So like, oh, you know, like why would you play a physical chosen when you could just go spirit chosen? You know, like, oh, you know, like just, you know, just go relentless for, you know, spirit damage, or, you know, go sword master for ether dance spirit damage. You know, go, you know, go what, go AM for dot magic. You know, go bloody Magus versus Engie, because Magus is magic damage and Engie might have to stack weapon skill. You know, like that sort of stuff, you know, like, oh, you know, like, do you want a solo roam, or does your class, can you get regen because of how the meta is, because you're fighting all these hybrid healers that are just gonna death by 1,000 cuts, you know, are you going to be able to survive witch brew, are you going to be able to survive repel blasphemy, glass cannon, witch hunters, you know, like, it's like, come on, you know, like, you know, yeah, so it's the old thing, like pissing in the wind and saying it's raining. It's like, bros, I don't, it just comes across like, in my opinion, it comes across disingenuous to like admit the flaws to the game and how the actual player base interact with either one, the systems, or the gearing. And then when you try to have an actual intellectual discussion about, hey, maybe there might need to be like more robust systems to, for one, like how the player base interact with systems, or how the gearing or stats, you know, are, you know, like, why is there no magic penetration stat? Oh, or resistance. Well, why is it so much easier to just, you know, find a class that you can just stack all intellect or all strength and not have to dump points into weapon skill? You know, it's like, you know, it's more efficient now. I have more points. You know, like I can just focus on main stats instead of an arbitrary secondary stat. And yeah, wait, did I answer the question? Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. Well, since we're gonna go down this road here a little bit, I guess the counter argument that some people would give you is that what you're talking about is a solo problem for the most part, is a solo problem, and a lot of the community and player base is going to say, well, this is a group based game. If you don't want those imbalances, group up, play in a warband, play in a group. Um, now I'm not saying I 100% agree with that. I'm a mostly solo player myself, so I fully understand what you're saying. But what do you say to somebody who says, well, you're playing you're playing in a way that the game is technically not meant to be played, and this is meant to be synergy with other players, not by yourself. What do you say to something like that?
I think that's a lazy argument for them to not make the game accessible for everyone. Like, they could. Why does it have to just be a group-based game? You know, like, that's the thing. We are all individuals. You know, we're not born with 5 other people attached to us to be able to make a group. You know, for whatever reasons, due to like time restraints, it becomes unrealistic to expect everyone to be able to play like a very like that way. Like, for example, because I'll bring up, like, you know, like you can look at the studies and stuff like that that show like the average gamer, you know, like, or the average adult who has a life has an hour to 2 hours. Like, this is like from those their game studies, and they pay all that money to find out, for whatever reasons these game companies do, that like an average person has an hour to 2 hours of free time per day if they are lucky. And that's like total free time that they could spend maybe an hour to 2 hours on leisure hobbies. And then now you're saying to them that, hey, come to our game, but to play our game, you're going to be only be able to do it if you have to start being in a group. And then it's like, well, for a lot of reasons, one, like, people might not be able to find a group. Two, it might take too long to find a group. And then, like, three, they might just like not want to actually. They might not, what I talked about before. Like, they want to play individually, but still be part of the actual game community. To, like, you know, the part of the faction, which is what's supposed to be like MMOs in general. It's supposed to be a mass multiplayer online. And then I think it's like a bit short-sighted to just be like, hey, if you don't like it, leave. When like, why can't it be for everyone? Why does it have to be such a hard? We're not going to make some changes so we can have a solo or make it solo friendly, because at the end of the day, like a lot of people would want to do all of it. Like let's be real here. There's a lot of people that are solo from a whole bunch of other games that want that, they play WoW, they play what Final Fantasy, Blood, whatever, they come from other games where like they have an individual character, and then they want to do group content, but then they want to do solo content, and it's like it's putting up a straight up a barrier to entry, or a reason for them to leave, because it's just like not friendly for, well, no, friendly not really the term. It's, it makes I don't know how best to describe it. But like a lot of people that play solo will want to do group content and warband content, but sometimes it gets boring just being in a warband, and it is nice to be able to like roam around solo and then just try to find organic fights and skirmishes going on, or do like small scale, get in a duo. Like sometimes it's like, oh, you've only got your partner to hang out with, so there's only two of you. You've only got a couple of your friend comes to play the game, so you might be lucky if you could try to build a 6-man, and then you come into the game, and then it's just bloody everyone's in a 12-man or a 24-man with their optimized bloody blob or their Zerg. And what do? You're like, well, I have to either one, follow around the blob, or two, wait in the bloody war camp, or three, X-Realm and go and hang out with that side to farm shit. And then, and then if they do try solo, like, the one, if they're under-geared, they're going to get completely destroyed by all the bloody all the degens that are all like in fucking biz, and like, like good luck, fighting a renown rank 80 pluses when you're like a newbie, and then you don't even know that your class doesn't even have the optimization to be able to even do solo, so they just get like what, slow dot kited to death, or they get bloody destroyed into knockdown, and then they're like, oh, this game fucking sucks, and they leave. And then that's the same with like when people say don't, oh, if they don't like it, leave. Well, guess what? They leave. And then it's a sad one for Warhammer, because we had someone that probably would have actually like been great for the community to have, that might have been able to, like, it gets me onto the thing about like dungeons. Why is there lockouts in dungeons, bro? Like, people still have to actually do and grind the dungeon to get the gear. The fact that we have lockouts in a dungeon means we don't have a PvE community of just no lifers that farm dungeons, because people don't seem to understand that like a lot of people play an MMO just because they can grind out a bloody dungeon, and then they're in a guild, and that's what they do. They go and they do the PvE content. They'll just keep grinding. They'll, like, why is that bad for the game that we could have like a dungeon grinding PvE community that would like lower the price of liniments due to like the more abundance of seeds, or the more from the liniment caches, and then the more runs are going out that people can easily find a run, and then if someone dips out on a wing, it's not going to be a pain in the ass because everyone is saved, or they don't want to get saved to one boss, like, because of lockouts, like, yeah, sorry, I guess, yeah, grr. But yeah.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine. Um, I mean, like I said earlier, I'm not really much of a PVE player, but I've never understood the mentality that the server has as well with the whole PVE lockouts. In my opinion, I agree with you 100%. It would just, I mean, I guess from a player perspective, for people who care about gold on the server, it would destroy their economy, because now you would
Fuck
have
them.
you.
Fuck those cunts. Jesus Christ. I do not want to pay 1 gold per linny for a 30-minute linny. Like, if you're a fucking gold farmer, go sniff your fart somewhere else. Like, Jesus Christ. I don't care. I don't want to be paying 1,000 gold, 1,500 gold to try to get a fucking anus ring. Like, Jesus Christ. Like, I
Well,
don't want to be paying fucking all this gold for, like I don't grind PvP, or I don't grind PvE. So how am I supposed to, like, the gold sink is fucking mental. Like, oh, I need to have regen pots. Oh, I need to have absorb pots. And once you get bloody geared out, I need to have the PvP pots. Now I need to do the 3-pot meta. And then, like, gotta have my linnies, gotta have my, armor pots. So you got fucking what? you got lineys, you got armor pots, you got regen pots, you got absorb pots, and then so like I've already got 4 consumables, and you're looking like 40 gold a stack for armor pots. You're looking at up to what 40 to 80 gold depending on what linear you want to run. You're looking at bloody uh 40 to 80 gold for absorb pots if you're going to run blue or greens. Then you're looking the same again. All of a sudden, you're looking at hundreds of gold for a PvP game where you might be lucky to get a green that you can sell for fucking 80 silver. Like, come on. Like, let's be real here. Like, why do we want, I'd fuck should be like 20 silver, like 10 silver. Like a liniment should be like dirt cheap. It lasts half an hour. And then why do we have half an hour linnies? Why aren't they 1 hour? It's so frustrating to be like look down and like, oh shit, I forgot to do my fucking liniment check, like just make them an hour, man. Jesus Christ. Like fucking 30-minute linnies is like one, it's too expensive, and then they run out too much. And then fucking talk about getting me fucking annoyed. Fucking death tax. Why the fuck is there a death tax in a fucking PvP game? Let's get fucking punished. 20 silver every time we die and don't get a fucking res in a PvP game.
I think
But yeah.
I think the response that some players would give to you in regards to the liniments and the armor pods and things like that is just craft them yourself. Just
Yeah,
make
okay.
just
And then
just make
and then
free
I
characters and learn all the skills and do it yourself. And then it's
and then I
it's
say
free.
them go back to those studies which show that the average person has an hour to 2 hours of game, and then expect them to be like, hey, you're gonna have to grind your whole fucking weekend just to get liniments, so you might be able to use liniments and armor pots to be on the same playing field as all the other fast nymphs that have no fucking life. Like why are we making the game exclusive for no lifers? Like, because that's what it ends up coming down to. Is like, I have more time to waste, therefore I get more fucking shit, so I can outshit you. Like it needs to be accessible. Like the barrier to entry, like if you're gonna have liniments and stuff like that, and make them a part of the game for like, like oh, this is a part to make it more rich with depth. Like, hey, this is one of the systems, liniments and pot systems. Why are you making now a barrier to entry that whether or not you can farm fucking gold in a PvP game? Like, come on, like seriously, like you're supposed to be people are supposed to be beginning in, having fun, using liniments and stuff that like augment their builds, and because you have to run them because everyone else does. But now all these people that have a whole bunch of gold can now run them, and then like you're gonna lose a 1v1 because you can't afford blue pots and you can't do the 3 pot meta. You know, like okay, fun game, GG, fucking quit.
Well,
Like oh you could be just go out and grind them, go out and fucking make them. It's like well I don't have bloody, you know, make a stack of blue pots. Jesus Christ.
I think the
Good luck
big
trying to farm bats.
I think the biggest issue really, if we're talking about the economy aspect, is there is a group of people on a server that have thousands upon thousands of gold, and more gold than they could probably ever spend in the game, and a fair amount of these players will buy up all the liniments and then sell them, for 3-4 times than what they were originally, and then players like that you're talking about that only have 1 or 2 hours, 3 hours a day to play, they can't afford them. They're left out. They're left
Then
out.
they should make a vendor. Why don't they just have a fucking vendor? Why doesn't a vendor just sell them?
Yeah.
If the community's going to do that, why don't they just have a vendor like like put a vendor where they sell for like 50 silver, for example. One
Hmm.
liniment for 1 hour liniment costs you 50 silver. And if people want to make money off them, they're going to either have to sell them at 50 silver on the auction house or sell them for less, so people can't gouge it. Like we shouldn't be, like that's the thing. Like it's a private server, and we're supposed to be part of a faction. We're not supposed to be like trying to literally
Help each
like
other.
lord. Yeah. We're not supposed to be lording over the bloody auction house and be like, oh, how much can like the people that will deliberately put on the armor pots. They'll make armor pots, but they won't make them. They won't make them 60 minutes. They'll make them the 5 minute ones, and they'll
Hmm.
put them at exactly the same price
Hmm.
as the 1 hour ones. And if you misclick or you don't check whether or not it's the lasting or the fleeting, you're gonna waste bloody 30 silver to 40 silver on a 5 minute armor pot. And there's
Yeah.
stacks of them. People just keep making them. It's like, why? Like, this is why I get annoyed about the community. It's like everyone talks about the community and stuff like that. It's like, bros, you guys are like you cannibalize your own player base a lot of the time. Like, you guys don't use yourself any favors when it comes to like with player interaction or actual player behavior with how we interact with the actual people within our own faction, whether it's like abusing X Realm or like gouging out the auction house or just whatever. Like there's so much stuff where like there's no sportsmanship involved, or there's like, people just out for themselves, and it's like, like, come on, like, Jesus Christ, people like begging for gear runs because no one will help them, and then people can't get into like groups or warbands because you're not like fucking renown rank 60 plus, or like the guilds are doing an optimized run where they only want to have like what bright wizards or sorks for bombs to add on the damage, and then they want to stack it with a white lion or a bloody chopper, and if you're not that, then you're not going to be a part of their warband because they're going to want to like 24 hit cap bomb warband everyone and then run around and just farm the kill boards. Like, come on, like, Jesus, come on. That's why I use the term fart sniffer, man, because that's what it seems like. It seems like they're just sitting there, go, whoa, yeah, look at that, whoa, fucking Doritos. It's like, Jesus Christ, guys, fuck.
Now, do you
Sorry.
do you think this is a Return of Reckoning problem, or just a game mindset MMORPG problem? And I kind of get into what I mean by this. And that is back when I used to play Dark Age of Camelot. There was a server on Dark Age that was free for all PvP. It was called Mordred. So the whole faction system kind of went out the window because Dark Age had a tri-faction system. But on the Mordred server, there really wasn't a faction. It was just free for all. So it'd be kind of like grouping with Destro on here for PvP reasons if you wanted to. You could group up with the Shaman as an engineer if you wanted to. So on the Mordred server, you would have people who would, hey, we're gonna go do a dungeon run. We need X amount of people to play with us. Well, what they would do is they would invite these, 1, 2, 3 people, and then right before they got the dungeon done, they would disband and then kill those players and then grab the loot. And then they would leave those players out. So they would disband the group and then kill them, because again, it's free for all. So there was no, allegiances. Kill them, then grab the loot and then not share it. Now, this is back in 2000, like I said, 2002, 2003, 2004. So the player mindset of it's only about me or what I want or the selfishness or whatever the case may be isn't really new in MMOs. What do you think, can be done about that? Because it's not a new problem. People screwing over fellow players is not new. It's gonna always happen, no matter what. That's a different society conversation. But what do you think can be done about it, or can nothing be done about it? What do you think?
Depends if like people need to really ask themselves the questions: what sort of game and what sort of people do they want to be playing with, and like do they like? Then it comes down to like I've described it a couple of times in my streams where an MMO needs to have like it's like it's like a family, because you technically are, you're spending a lot of time with people, and they're generally on your side, and you're supposed to be working together for like a common goal, or if not, you're supposed to be somewhat like amicable to each other for the sake of the greater good. So for that, like it requires so we're all like brothers and sisters technically, and within the game, sort of like just the umbrella. So that requires like we need to have parents. Like where's the parents? Like this is where I think ROI has a big issue. Is basically ROI has a mentality, or in a lot of games having the mentality where it's a bunch of feral children that bullies, like they can use the anonymity of the internet, and they can just be like fucking nerd jocks is what I call them. They just want to act like a stereotypical jock from a bloody TV sitcom, but they want to do it on an electronic format. And then be like, oh, like look out, like look at me, my name's Jim Dyer. I got better again. I'm fucking more powerful. I got, and then it's like, well, it's short-term gains, long-term losses. Like you could like if there's no parent and the parent's going to allow that behavior, what's going to happen is people just going to quit. And then that's my sort of issue with ROI is like that devs will make a change to something, or it feels like there's more time spent on policing what people say than how people play, and then how people interact with the actual systems. And I'm not talking about like, oh, they pulled the Lord outside, so therefore they should be banned. No, I'm talking more about like how like the how the warband sort of system is, like why isn't it like I think like warband should be kept at 12 players unless you're in a guild or alliance, because why is there no player agency for guild and alliances? Like I think a guild and alliance should be the only ones allowed 24 mans, because all it does, in my opinion, is it just makes, because human, like, well, let's be honest about human nature, like humans want to take the path of least resistance, and if you start making things a chore, or things start becoming long or hard, that humans would just try to find the, like, oh, be like, what is it, Bruce Lee, be like water, like fucking just flow, like fucking. So you see how they're doing it. They just want to turn into like a meta, like, oh shit, it takes ages to get to renown rank 80. It takes ages to get crests. So how can we meta farm this game? Oh, let's just X realm and then farm the bags when the people are there. We'll just flip flop and just, oh, there's no point in there's you don't get no rewards for a defense, so no point doing a defense. So, and then the mentality is just, oh, let's just grind and farm out the game, and then let's just blob. And then you look at the war bands, it's like everyone just wants, no one wants to make like small 6-man groups anymore. Everyone, like, there's no like real guild or alliances anymore, because like you can just like make a fucking war band and then everyone can join, and you just bloody go around like a fucking human centipede, bro. Like, la, 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 like num, 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 like let's just fucking zerg around and blob around and just run over all the small groups, and it's just, and then let's avoid the other big group. Oh shit, we lost that, and oh shit, we lost. Let's fucking X-ray over to that, and then we'll just flip the empty zone. Like, let's get our bags. It's like, come on, like, I say, like, I think the, I think ROI like devolves into a bunch of feral children a lot of the time with how they do it. They're more than willing to cannibalize their own population and their own player base. Where, like, there's been so many times where I've seen organized Discord warbands be on a side that pushes for a fort, and then for them to just literally leave them before the Lord dies, go to the other side just so they can farm them in the fort, and then fucking laugh about it. And it's like, and then they'll do the same again 80 minutes later. And it's like, bro, it's like, then people like lose all trust. Like, I thought it's supposed to be like your comrades, or like, it's supposed to be like, where's the faction pride? There's initially like people. I'm finding that in general, I'm just generalizing here. There's always going to be exceptions to the rule, and there's people that just like love their faction, they'll play their faction, they don't fucking X realm. I'm not having a go at like any of those sort of people. I'm just more like pointing out the fact that people are more than willing to manipulate a system to make it easier for them. And if that means requires them to only play the side that has the AAO because it's going to have more chance of flipping a zone, to getting a winning bag because you get more renown on the flip and you get a better chance at a bag roll, and you're just going to get farmed on the defense. So there's no point doing a defense. So I might as well just take if we're not going to X round, we'll just take our warband around the zone and then just kill all the small pockets of groups while the people take an empty keep. Or, oh look, they're pushing the fort. Oh, we can't win because there's too much like AoE, there's too much hit cap, so there's no point because it's just going to be laggy and we're just going to lose anyway. So we'll just go and flip an empty zone while people are in the fort. And then what happens? We just end up with an unfun game. Like, people just like actually end up avoiding the main aspect of it, which was to PvP. And then you go, well, if that's what's happening, where are the parents, e.g., the devs, to analyze this player behavior with how they're interacting with the systems and going, well, obviously they're not having fun with a lot of these systems because they're going out of their way to avoid the systems, and them avoiding the systems is actually ruining the overall experience and the, how do you just put it, like the spirit of the game, So I think it's a twofold. The player base are trying to do the path of least resistance, and the devs aren't trying to make the game more fun or trying to stop them doing that. Yeah, that's where I think that they need to like come to a thing, be like, well, how are the player base using or abusing the systems, how can we counter that to make it so they can't or they don't want to? And I'd rather them do it where they make the player base not want to. I don't want the devs come in and going, well, we're going to ban that, we're going to remove that. I'd rather make it more fun. Like, I'd rather the player base be like, oh, we don't want to X realm because we're having fun, because there's like all these six mans around and there's not all these blob zergy warbands and there's guilds and alliances, so now I can invest time in my guild or my alliance because we can only do like 24-man warband. Like, I'm just talking about like the mentality, like like. And it all stems from like little shit like that. There is no real guild or alliances anymore. There's just like guilds that are now Discord loyal, where they have a group on a guild on order, they have a guild on destruction, and then those people are just together in that because they'll flip flop from either on. So they've got a dual. And you look at all these big guilds; they generally have a sister guild on the other side that they'll X realm to, and it's like, like, wow, okay, GG. And you hear about people talk all the time, oh, I joined this guild. And then it found out that half the guild, and then the guild and the GM was playing on, like I've heard people talk about their order guilds. Oh, I joined this order guild, and then they logged on, there's no one on. And apparently they were all playing on their destruction turns, farming all the pugs on order. And then they flipped over, and then they'll flip over for the fort. And it's like, so you're farming your bloody mates on one thing, and then you flip on the other one, and then you complain that people quit and then don't want to interact, and then then everyone starts throwing the toys out of the cot, and then everyone starts getting left with a bad taste in the mouth because it's like unsportsmanlike conduct. Like, that's I think gets people really annoyed, in my opinion, because it gets me annoyed. Is it leaves a bad taste in your mouth. It's like, it didn't have to be like this. I'm not mad. I'm disappointed because I enjoy playing with I enjoy playing with the people, but if they're gonna start doing that shit, it it annoys me. Like, bros, it's like you're cannibalizing or you're killing your own game just so you can like grind out faster crests or faster bags. And then I get annoyed that the devs be like, why are you allowing this to happen? Because you might even have like only a small pocket of the people doing that, but because they're so geared or they're so influential, it flips the whole mentality of the server, and they can like literally change it so a 12-man can switch over, and then that would literally blow out the whole thing because they're like a fully soft geared 12-man in Discord, and then everyone bloody follows them. So then all of a sudden, oh, like, it's like, okay, whatever. And then I just get, not mad, disappointed. And then I get fucking on a rant. I'm like, so yeah.
Do you think
Did I answer the question?
No, you did. You did.
Wait.
No, you sound a lot like me in many ways. Um, do you think that part of the problem is that the GMs take this stance, and I don't know if this is true or not. This is just me theory thinking, through my dumb brain. Do you think part of the issue is that the GMs say, we can't stop these guilds slash alliances from doing this because without them, the game doesn't move because the casual players won't push the game to where what the object was. Like, they're not going to push. They won't push the forts, they won't push the zones, they won't push the cities. So we rely on the quote unquote no lifers, the quote unquote tryhards, the quote unquote large guilds to do this. So without them, the game is just a stand around. What do we do? So do you think maybe that's why they allow that type of let's just say egregious behavior, because they feel they need them to make the game move? Or do you disagree with that mindset?
Um, I don't think it should be like there should be that much power put into the hands of the player base, considering of how the player base is proven with how they like will abuse the power. And then my question would be, why are they doing it? So I'd rather, I'd rather the GMs and the devs change the systems or work it in a way where people don't want to do that. Because like, why are the optimized groups doing that? And when they say we're doing it for content, I call bullshit, because a lot of the time it is quite literally 60, 80, 100, 200% AAO bag farming. Let's be real here. Like very rarely you'll see might see six mans that will like X realm maybe to support a losing side, but in general, no. So, like I'd rather I'd rather I'd rather like not even be a thing. Like so like this thing like I've always been under the thing of like why don't they like turn bag rolls off? Like if people are X roaming because they want to meta farm bag rolls, turn the bags off like for the X roaming side. So like for example, if your side gets to 60 or 80%, you won't get a bag roll, like if you got the bonus, because like you're technically just farming. Like there's no opposition at that point. Like at 60, 80%, you can't defend the keep. At a 20 and a 40, you can actually have a really good fight and you can try to defend it, and it's pretty fun. But once it gets to 60, 80 and higher, there's literally nothing you can do, and most people just bloody go and AFK. So then it's just people standing around in an empty keep, and then the other group's just going around the zone farming the one or two solos or a little six man that might be left behind. So it's like, well, why are we rewarding it? Like that's my question to the devs or the GMs would be, why are you rewarding players abusing the system like that? Because it's what's coming down to. When players can abuse X Realm to get free bags, to get faster crests, why are you allowing it to happen? Like that'd be my question. And then like, it becomes the player base are doing it because they can and they won't stop, because why would they? Because it's I say the path of least resistance. Like why literally just turn the bags off. Make it so there's no reason for people to X realm. Make it so there's more fun rewards and there's more incentive to actually do defense. One, make their incentives to do defenses and make the defenses more fun, where you might be able to spawn heroes or whatever. You get a certain amount of kills and you start getting NPCs involved or whatever, and then like make people have the same amount of like even bag roll, have just bag rolls based on contribution, full stop. Doesn't matter if you're winning or a loser. Like the more contribution you got from like, and have it a mix of running supplies, capturing BOs, and have a metric. If you're in a zone, if you can capture 10 BOs or whatever, and then you can get like 20 kills, for example, or you could run 5 boxes, they would all, or like or run 10 boxes, they would all add on to your contribution to try to get a gold bag. So then you're incentivizing people. Oh shit, we're in the zone. Like if we're sieging or defending and just trying to stop them getting the ram or whatever, we need to back cap 10 BOs and to get our contribute for whatever. Like thinking about systems like that, getting people to engage in the BO systems to make it fun. So therefore, if you put in the work, you will still get the gear, even if people want to manipulate the system. So, like there's the thing, like I'm roaming around all the time. I'll be able to get my BOs fine. I'll be able to get my kills fine. I'll be able to get my supplies fine because I'm playing the fucking game. So if you want to X realm and zerg the bloody fucking keep where there's 100% AAO, well, I want to have just as much renown and a massive bag when I actually might have actually played the game more than these people in these, like that's the thing. I think you should be rewarding people that are actually playing the game, not manipulating the system. So, and I think if the community knew that, where they're like, hey, if you go in the zone and you play the fucking game, you'll have a really good chance at a massive bag. So, one, there's no point in bloody X roaming, because if you stay on your destruction character and you're in your little 6-man or your solo or your duo or you're in your 12-man pug group or in your warband alliance 24-man, and you go into the zone and you start interacting with the zone mechanics, guess what? You got a really good chance at a gold bag. So, and you're going to get the same renown when the zone's over. So you make it so the zone is like a mini game. So, because they're already a mini game now because there's no cities. So make it so when you're fighting in the zone, you're trying to get your maximum contribution so you can try to get your most renown for your own personal goal. Like I want to get my max renown bonus. I want to get my gold bag or purple bag or my max bag roll, and I don't want it determined by X roamers or AAO or whatever. I just want to be playing the game, having fun, and then if I turn up and try to do a defense, if we lose, we lose, but let's fucking put up a good fight. And I don't want to be getting like a quarter of the renown just because I decided not to X-Realm, and you got like a 120% AAO against you, and there you are with like 6 people in the fort or in the keep trying to fight a whole bloody warband, dropping oil, killing the fucking witch elves and the slayers or the choppers coming up the thing. It's actually fun, but I'm gonna get fucking nothing for it. I'm gonna get a shitty bag roll, and I'm gonna get shitty renown. So most people will just not. So that's my sort of thing. Like, make the game fun. It's supposed to be a fucking game. Like, it's not supposed to be a meta farm. Like, am I crazy? Like, is that like a hot take, or like, Jesus Christ, guys, it's supposed to be a fun game where we're just trying to kill each other. Like, Jesus Christ. Sorry.
No, you're
I'm
good.
gonna say sorry a lot because
No,
I get just
no,
say,
you're
yeah.
good. You're good. No, I agree with you. I agree with you on many aspects. I wouldn't say I agree with you 100%. But I do
What?
agree
Now
with
you have to agree with everything I say. Everything.
No,
Fucking everything.
I agree with you on many aspects. Let me ask you this question. This is something
Yeah.
that's been brought up a lot, and that is, well, are you a proponent of, let's say if there was a way of stopping this, to only have one faction on your account? So let's say if there was a way where if you picked Order, you were Order, you couldn't have Destro characters as well on your account. Are you a proponent of that? And then also on a side note, are you a proponent of a system of, if Order has, let's say, 100 other extra people in the lakes, you can't log on to Order until their population's down or until Destro's population is even. So are you a proponent of both of those things, or no?
No.
So, because both of them have been brought up.
No, hard no. Just refer to my previous rant. I'd rather they make it that you wouldn't. It doesn't matter. Like I say, if you go and you play the character and you do stuff in your zone, that's what I reckon your reward should be based on. Is actually pushing buttons in the zone, not which side you're playing or what has the most AAO. You should be rewarded for actually playing the game, whether you win or you lose. Like, I don't really care. Like, it's supposed to be, like I say, fighting over. Like, you could add bonuses for like a guild bonus or something like that for like I'm not talking about like extra renown or something like that, but to like get guilds to like because they either need to bring the campaign back as well. But as I say, like, one, they need to what I want them to do is, one, remove the PvE lockout, because then that's why I want them to lock people out, because people should be allowed to play whatever character they want, but them doing that shouldn't determine what loot other people get, is what I'm sort of getting at, which is why I'd rather them have their loot system and their bag roll system not based over who wins the flip in the zone. It should be based off which characters are pushing the most buttons and interacting with the most systems within the thing. Like, who's trying to get the BOs? Who's actually fighting? Who's trying to run supplies? Who's actually pushing buttons? Like,
So
you yeah.
So you want to reward the player or the group or the players that, for example, goes into, let's say, Prague, and their group runs to Manor, grabs 4 boxes, runs it to the keep, turns them in, claims the keep as well, helps rank it up, might not get 1,000 kills, but they get, they have some skirmishes throughout the zone as they're doing this, and then they also help with either the siege or the defense of that zone, win or lose. You would rather have that group rewarded more than, let's say, a group that forms a warband and then sits on a BO, let's say like Martyr Square, and racks up 1,000 kills in 3 or 4
Right.
hours.
Yep.
You would
Like,
rather reward that group than the group that gets all the kills.
Yep. Correct. I'd rather people be moving around. I'd rather people be moving around the zone, interacting with the systems that are making the game technically more fun for everyone, or engaging in the systems. So, like, you get For example, they could make it so, like, you know, like how they got renown buffs. So like a stacking renown buff, for example. So if you go into the zone and you get 20 kills or 50 kills, you get a ×1. If you go and you get 10 BOs, you get another ×1. You go and you run bloody 20 boxes, you get another ×1. You go and you claim the keep and help rank it up, or like you help rank up the keep, or you're in the zone when the keep is ranking, you get another times ×1, up to like a stacking up to ×5 renown bonus. You know, so all of a sudden now you're getting 5 times the renown, and then it wipes with the next zone. So you go in the zone and you're getting like, oh yeah, sweet, I can go in the zone and we can have up to like a 50% renown bonus in the zone for engaging in each one of those systems. So you go out, you get your kills. Oh sweet, instantly, you know, we've got 20 kills just from going roaming around trying to get the BOs. Oh sweet, we've got the BOs. Sweet as there's another ×1. Now it's just like having you know, like having like a golden stein, for example. One of the best things was like golden steins were fun, going around, running around the zone, trying to find a, 50% bloody renown boost, you know, and then like, like stuff like that. Like that's the sort of thing that I would want them to be thinking about, like, hey, engage in the system. You're in the zone. You're engaging in the systems. You're participating in the actual war. Therefore, you'll get like as a ×1 renown bonus, and it will give you like there might be 5 tiers of contribution to help towards your gold bag. So you get your ×1. That means you're in the you got a bonus to your bag roll. ×2, another bonus. ×3, another bonus. So therefore, like you got a good chance of getting a blue and above. If you get so if you get ×5, you're going to get a 50% renown boost on the flip, whether it's won or it's lost, and then you're going to get a ×5 to your bag roll, so you got a good chance of getting a blue and above. But if you turn up into the zone and you just join the warband, or you just in the keep, you got no ×5, you're going to get bloody bugger all. You probably might still get a bag roll, but you're going to probably get like a white or a green, and you're not going to get a huge fucking chunk of renown. And then the people that were actually running around being idiots, killing each other, having fun, talking shit, playing the game, sweet, get rewarded.
Okay, so
GG.
so I'm gonna play devil's advocate here. Let's say if we took your system where you get better rewards or more rewards by being more active in the zone. So again, groups running boxes, groups claiming keeps, groups ranking up a keeps, groups defending the zones, groups, being more active throughout the zone. Since you have stated earlier that, you know, humans just go to the path of least resistance by nature, what would stop basically one faction just by running, by doing that in empty zones? So for example, you would have, let's say order to say, you know what, we're gonna do all of that in Prague. Destra says, okay, we're gonna do all of that in Thunder Mountain, and then everyone is just gonna get all their bags for just for doing, for quote unquote playing the game, but they're still avoiding each other. But that would allow
I'll
them.
just laugh at them. I would just laugh at them and go, you guys are fucking shit cunts, and you shouldn't even be in the game. Like, it's supposed to be a PvP game where we're just trying to kill each other and have fun. And if you're going to actively avoid it, well, I think you should find a different fucking game. Like, if people are going to do it, they're going to do it. But I
True.
think you should be rewarding the people that aren't going to be doing it. And I think that's who we should be focusing on. We should be focusing on the genuine people that log on to hang out with their friends, push buttons, do shit in zone. There's always going to be the fart sniffers. And if everyone wants to do that and actively avoid it, well, when there's no like actual reason to, like, I'd remove kill boards as well, because it's one of the worst mentality things that they've done. Get rid of fucking kill boards, because there shouldn't be people focusing on a website. Oh, we don't want to engage in content because there's a thing on the website that shows that we lost or died, blah, blah. Get rid of it. Like, we don't need that in the game. Like, I don't care. Like, there's already third-party system. If you want to track your kills, by all means, do it. But I don't think it should be on a website to make a twisted sort of mentality where you're rewarding an arbitrary number on the thing, and like, get as many kills as you can, you'll be at top of the leaderboard. So now you're incentivized to just, like, cheese the game. It's like, bro, like, people should be focusing on the game, not on the website. And what I mean by that is like, people came into my stream, and I was talking about this one day, and they're like, "Oh, Oh yeah, I hadn't played the game for like ages, and then they added kill boards, so now I came back on my witch hunter. Now I came back for kill boards, and now I'm running around the zone just ganking people because it was great that they made." It's like, bro, like I'd rather you not actually be in the game. If all you did was come back with your geared witch hunter or your geared witch elf because they added kill boards, now you can go and gank lobbies and just try to farm kills and cheese the game. Now you're having fun. Now you're playing a game within a game. Like I'd rather than just actually remove killboards as well.
I,
Because it doesn't reward people that do like tanking or protection or healing. It's just a toxic sort of E-pen kill. Blah, blah, blah. Like get rid of it. It's unhealthy. I think it's unhealthy for the game. And a lot of people that have played a lot of games where their games have added a kill counter of some sort has actually eroded the overall fun or health of their PvP game. Like people talked about it in Eve, when all of a sudden they started adding these kill trade and these lists. All of a sudden, people didn't want to do any PvP in the game. Why? Because people would use it as a way to be like, "Oh, look at you're fit at your class." Like I'm going around and I've got 3,000 kills and I've only died like bloody. Look at that handful of times. You're fit at the game. It's like fucking end. Like you're playing a fucking witch elf. You're playing a witch hunter. Like how does that make you better at the game? Like why is it even a thing? Like I don't want to be talking to people about that shit. I don't give a fuck. Like but people will use as like, "Oh, you're fitter. You're not and they'll so you see people they don't want to engage in fights. So all these people that are focused, you see a lot of the killboard farmers, they don't want to engage in a fight. So now you got all these witch hunters and all these witch elves that will literally stay invisible and watch you fucking die because they don't want to engage because there might be a chance that they might die. What the fuck? You know,
I don't think that's just
come
a
on.
witch elf witch hunter problem. I think that's
I'm just
I
in general.
no,
Like
I understand.
I see a lot of it just with that class
Yeah,
because like we go invisible. We can we just pick. I'm picking on that class, but
no,
a
no,
lot a lot of classes I do it, but that's what I've seen the most
that
on
that
us
that that
become more
mentality.
hyper on that one.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
mentality.
a game within a game. Yeah.
Yeah, I see what you see. I mean, I understand what you're saying here. Were you around when they made it where BOs, where you would get I think it was every 4 or 5 seconds, you would get a BO tick? Were you around for that?
I was around when back in the I was around. I don't know if it was the BO but I was around when everyone had the war camp one where they just sat at the war camp and they were just outside the war camp, so they're within the zone. They're getting a tick and people were just farming out there renown.
Well,
I was
there was a time on this server where they changed the meta where they got rid of there was no supplies. But what you did is the keep would rank up automatically on its own by how many BOs you would hold and secure over a period of time in a zone. And then what they would
I don't
do,
mind the supply thing,
so that
to be
what
honest.
neither do I. And then what they would do is, uh, if you held the BO, you would get a reoccurring tick. The tick was like I think like 20 renown I want to say every 5 seconds or something like that. Well, what ended up
I
happening?
probably was around.
What ended
Yeah,
up
people would just sit on and not do
yeah,
anything.
yeah, they would just sit in the BOs and they would AFK, and then what would end up happening is, destruction characters would hold, let's say, two BOs in Prague, order characters would hold the other two BOs in Prague, then they would just AFK on the BOs. And then every once in a while, you would have a group, you would have one or two people come around, and they would
Got to
literally
kill all the AFKs.
they had to kill the AFKers because they were literally
Yeah.
AFKing on the BO for 30 minutes. They wouldn't move.
Yeah, and that's
So
where I'd go. Kudos to the devs for removing that and then adding like the supply system to get people moving around and then getting people to, But I say there needs to be more added to it. As I say, like, I reckon they need to be rewarding the people that are actually active in the zones
well, are
and not
you
just active on the flip.
So then, are you a fan or are you a opponent then of the currency change of when
No,
they created the currency change from being? And I'm going to explain this to anyone who might not be around at this point. Is that before in the game you would get renowned currency based upon your level and then also the level of your opponent. So you would get basically like a soldier PvP coin. You would get a vanquisher PvP coin, and then you would have
Yeah, they call them
to
insignias. Yeah.
correct, and then you'd also have its own currency in scenarios. You would get medallions in scenarios as well. So there was a separation of gear between scenarios and in open world PvP because the currency was different. So you weren't able to just do one or the other. You had to do them both if you everything.
No,
And
I
then
don't like it. I think it's I think it's bad for the mentality of the game.
so do you not like the current currency system, or do you
No,
prefer the old one? You prefer the old one?
I prefer the old one.
Okay.
Like I prefer the old one where like the problem was when you go for a unified currency, everyone becomes a currency then. Like back in the day, like you'd like be trying to fight like higher level characters because they have a high chance of dropping a royal insignia. You'd be looking for geared characters. You wouldn't be going out looking for lobies because lobies would drop a fucking low level conk. Like, because that's what I'm pretty sure it was based on. It was based on the level of the person you would kill to determine what insignia could drop off the said person. So if you're going around killing a whole bunch of lobies, you're going to get a whole bunch of low level insignias, and then the bag would be based off your renown for what insignia would be in it, for example. So I think that one of the problems is when you go unified currency, now level 16s are worth just as much renown or crests as a in-game geared character. So why would you go out looking for harder fights when you can just go and farm and gank lobies to farm the same amount of crests? And then on the extra side of it is now it forces people to not buy because let's say path of least resistance, it leaves a bad taste in your mouth having to spend crests now on leveling gear that you're going to throw away when it's an actual in-game currency. So this is the issue: is when you're leveling. Before you used to get your conch, your bloody vank, or whatever, you'd get your insignias whilst you're leveling up in that level group. So the good thing about that is like you'd be like, oh, I've got conch insignias. I'd go be able to buy conqueror gear because I've got conch insignias to use. I don't just have crests, which I now want to save because when I get to bloody end game, I've got to spend 2,000 crests on weapons. I've got to spend 10,000 crests on my fucking sovereign warlord. I've got to spend another 9,999 crests to get my Vic on my tri ring, plus another 1,000 crests to get my second piece of my tri. So now I'm looking at 20,000 to 24,000 crests I have to fucking save up. So now like, oh, do I want to spend 100 crests on a conch, or like on a vank piece, or do I want to waste 300 crests getting my like my low level gear? No, I'd rather just save them because like. So now it's like, well, now I should do PVE. It's like, oh, I don't like PVE. I want to be PvPing, and that's when I'm saying like it's putting a roadblock for the people that don't like PVE because now you're not min-maxed, because at the end of the day, people want to min-max in general, like because it's like I say, if you start wasting your crest, it leaves a bad taste in your mouth because it can make your end game longer, and then it goes back to the if you don't have much time in your day, your currency is quite important. So you don't want to make your grind like the mathematics behind it, as I say, if you've got an hour a day, you're looking at like no joke, a year grind to get your solve for one character. So do you really want to be now blowing crests on gear that you're never going to use again when now you could go and farm out PQs or go and now farm dungeons? So now the meta is like, farm out your PQs, get your PvE gear because you don't have to spend any crests, start saving your crests right from fucking day one because you're going to want to have them. And then by the time you get to like the end game, you're going to have a whole stockpile of crests and you're going to be able to just buy the gear when you need it instead of being like, I've unlocked my renown level. Now I need to save the 1900 crests for my ring. Now I need to, or my chest piece, or now I need to like, so for example, my cobs is just at renown rank 70 and I nearly have 9,000 crests. And I've got my fortress weapon. I've got my offhand. So I've got my weapons done, and I'm pretty sure I've got like 9,000 crests. So now I've got 1,000 crests to go, and I can get my Vic or my Tri out of the raid first, and then I can start my Sov or my Warlord grind. And if I had been spending crests, like if I wanted to go through and didn't want to do the Bastion Seer and get my Bloodlord, then that means like how many crests is it for Invader? That's like, was it 500, 700, 1,000 crests? Like, like if it's 200 crests per piece, like, and then you got the, like, no, like I don't want to be making my grind even longer when the grind is actually already long, because as I say, like, it's throwaway gear. There's nothing worse than, as I say, burning money when it's like, as I say, an in-game is TLDR. I don't like the fact that crests are an in-game currency and that you're incentivized to save them.
I
If that makes any sense.
no, it makes sense. I think to you, I think others would disagree. I'll take my own personal way that I did it myself, and this is how I play. And no, I'm not saying I advocate to play how I play at all, because I just don't give a shit about how long it takes me to level my character. So I am not as most people who know me as a player, I play solo 99% of my time on all of my characters. And when cities came out in 2020, I've only done 2 cities my entire career on the server. 2 of them. And I did them both in 2020 when they came out. Other than that, I grinded all of my gear through OpenRVR. So on my Slayer, it took me 10 months to get Sovereign. It took me 10 months to get Sovereign. Where I remember when cities first came out, people were getting all 7 pieces. Actually, when cities first came out, people got all 7 pieces their very first city, because they got people would get everything in one big lump sum because it kind of bugged out. So people would just get everything on one term. So it took me 10 months for my Slayer, and then like my engineer is renown rank 82. He's still in he's still in Invader. He's not even in Warlord yet. He's still in Invader gear, and he's renown rank 82. And he was actually my very first character ever created on the server. So I understand what you're saying in the sense of, people don't want to do that, and I'm not advocating for doing that at all, because it is a time sink. I'm just okay doing it myself. Like my Ironbreaker that I'm leveling right now, I'm leveling him 100% through OpenRVR. So I am buying all the gear sets through Crest. So like right now, I'm saving. When I hit 38, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna buy all of my officer stuff. So I'm gonna spend crests on that, and then I'm gonna go and I'm gonna buy all my Conqueror stuff. Then I'm gonna buy all my Vanquisher stuff. So I will do that, but I am certainly not the typical player in that regard. And I
Yeah,
think,
that's what I try to say to people is like when people see me stream and if I stream for 8 hours, that's like over a week of actual gameplay for a normal
oh
person.
yeah,
Like, so like we have like for us to grind out characters is easy peasy lemon squeezy because we're because we just we physically can invest the time,
hmm,
and that's where I'm advocating for the people that can't invest the time, because back in the day you used to be able to get Vanquisher for your full Vank set from Master Bags, and
hmm,
you used to be able to get Subjugator and stuff like that from Purple Bags. Now you got, as I say, it's another grind because now you have to get your Genesis crest. You used to be able to get a fragment from green and above. For you to get your Genesis, so you get a green bag, you get one of your Genesis fragments instead of having to go and get 10 actual Genesis fragments, which was basically one fragment is 8 crests. So now you've got to spend 80 crests just for one. So you want 2 Genesis rings, you're looking at 160 crests. So it just starts like, and that 160 crests, that could be like a week's worth of, or like a couple of days of like playtime, or a few days worth of crests for someone that's, as I say, they've only got an hour. They log on. How fast can someone grind out a 160 crests? And I'm talking about the weekly. I'm just talking about like in general, like like
just playing.
because if they're not doing, yeah, just playing, and if they're not doing their PVEs and they want to get their steward stone and they want to get their thing, they're not going to be able to they're going to be able to take stage 1 of the weekly, and then they're going to have to take the event item from the stage 2, and then they're probably going to have to take the steward stone from the 3 for their talisman. So realistically, they're not going to be able to get the extra 50 and the extra 75 crests. So
And that's exactly what I do.
like,
That's exactly what I do. Like
yeah,
on my Lobby Ironbreaker, I did the exact same thing. I grabbed the renown pot on stage 1, I grab the event item for stage 2, and then I grab the soul stone for stage 3. Um,
Yeah, that's why they shouldn't be focusing on no lifers. They should be focusing on the mum and pops, the people that have an hour to 2 hours, and making the game as much fun as they possibly can, because it's gonna live or die by them. Like no lifers and vets were always gonna be in it, because what we love the game, we love Warhammer, but what we need is we need the game to make people that can't do what we do still feel like a part of the community, a part of the game, have fun, and not feel like a fucking chore or a second job. Why is like a lot of these other MMOs dying? Because dailies, they're turning it into a fucking chore. As I say, make the game more fun. Focus on the people that have a life. They have an hour to 2 hours, so they can get the most amount of fun and crests and gear for their bloody hour a day. Like people should be able to get a piece of gear a week. Like people shouldn't be, as I say, it shouldn't be a year grind for a person. They should be able to, the dopamine hit. That's why when people ask me like, what am I going to get first? I'm like, I'm going to get my Vic or my Tribe piece of gear first, get my ring first. And they're like, why do you want to get your ring first? I'm like, because of the dopamine hit. It's like, if I go and while I'm leveling, the most fun I have generally is, as I say, if we're talking about the actual thing, is the agent, going back to the agency. Like, I'm putting in the effort. I can go do a dungeon. I'll get the gear. I get the dopamine hit. I get rewarded for my time in a timely manner. I go to a dungeon. Like I'll go grind PQ, get a bag. There's a bit of gear. Sweet. Within a few hours, I've got like my massive bags for my PQ gear. Powering up all the way thing. Get my bloody PQ. Get my ruining gear. I'm doing it for the dopamine hit generally. Like
mhm.
I'm getting my gear out of the way, getting my wards done. I'm getting rewarded. I'm getting the gear. I get to see a new shiny. I get to put some talismans in it. The next stage, the next bit of gear. Okay, done my ruin. Oh, I need to do a gun bed. Like, oh, okay, go get my red eye. Sweet, doing my red eye. Oh, I have to do like 3. Oh, damn, fucking lockouts. Boo hoo. Hate fucking lockouts. Do the thing. I'd rather be able to be like, I'd rather be able to grind it out in a day. Like, oh, I've got to do my red eye gear. That means I need to do 4 dungeons. Okay, I've got a Saturday. This is what I'm talking about for removing the lockouts, is because a lot of the people that have real lives, they'll be like, oh, I'll be able to play for a few hours on Saturday. Like I've got, I'll be able to few hours, and then it's like, okay, well, you should be able to say to your friend or your guildie, okay, oh, you're only going to be able to log on Saturday. How many hours you got? Oh, I've got 4 hours on Saturday. Kids or wife away. Sweet as. It's like, oh, how many gun beds could we do? How many gun beds could we get? Oh, we might be able to get 2 gun beds done. Sweet. There's 2 gun beds done. We might be able to get their full red eye set in a weekend for them. How fucking stoked are they going to be? Sweet, I've got a set done. Oh yeah, what's next? Oh, next week we might be able to do your BB or your crypts, and we could try to do the same. It's like, oh yeah, I've got 2 hours on Saturday and then 2 hours on Sunday. In the morning. Sweet as. Let's grind them out. We might be able to, if we can do fast runs, whatever. Next weekend, that's done. Now what? Oh, you got your best in steer, and that's why I'm generally doing it, is because, as I say, I can just grind it. Then I'll go to my gun bed. I'll get my red eye. Sweet, that's done. Got my ward done. Because I'm still solo around in the zone. Might join a warband every now and then on the side. Keep it all blah blah blah. And then go into the city dungeon. Oh, you try to get my sentinel. Oh, you got to get my sentinel ring, because the ring's gonna last you fucking ages. Because now I can start doing the set stacking. So now I'm going. Oh yeah, fucking I'm a tank class, and so I'm doing some solos. So I need some bloody regen. Oh, you need the sentinel chest. Need the ring. That's my 2-piece. Run a 3-piece. Oh, what's the boots? Parry. Run the boots. Oh, sweet. Now I've got fucking 3-piece. Strength wounds. Sweet as. What else am I gonna run? I have to run the red eye. Oh, let's try to do my best. Got to get my bastion out of the way. Go to the bastion steer. Oh, please, 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 God run, give me all my gear on the one run. Oh, sweet, got my fucking Bloodlord shoulders, got my fucking Bloodlord belt, another 2%, 4% parry. Yeah, start. Now I'm getting into like the mentality of, theory crafting, set stacking. I've got something to talk with people. It's quite interesting, especially for new players. Hey, have you thought about mixing that set with that set? Now you can get more stats, like people like, how much wounds have you got? I'm like, oh, my Cobbs has got 10k wounds. Like, what? How do you have so much wounds? Oh, you stack that set, stack that set. Oh, how much strength have you got? I've got like nearly 900. What? How do you have that? I've got like, I was talking with an IB the other day. He's got like nearly 300 strength, and like I blow his stats completely out of the water, and I'm still in PvE gear. And it's like, well, and then I can help. I'll go over that, blah blah blah, and then I say, and each one of these stages is like a dopamine hit for me. And then while I'm doing all this, I'm still grinding out crests. So now I've got my onslaught, I've got my bloodlord, and the time between my last gear upgrade and now my most expensive item is quite short because I've nearly ground my 10k crests. So now I'll be able to get my Vic or my tri-ring, and then now instead of me waiting at my very end, I'll now be back into the dopamine grind because that big huge grind for my Vic or my tri-ring's out of the way. So now I'll be like, I've got to grind my now I've got to start grinding my
Solid
sets. So I'll be
grind.
getting a dopamine hit. Yeah, now I'll be able to grind. I'll be getting a dopamine hit every between 700 crests and 1900 crests instead of a 9th.
Yeah.
Because what I found with all my other characters is I got all this dopamine hit. It was super fun all the way up. Got my Solve Warlord, and then now I was like, oh, I need my Vic or my Tri-Ring. Boom, 10k grind.
7
Ugh.
months. Takes 7 months to get it or
Yeah,
whatever.
bro, no dopamine hit for fucking ages, bro.
Yeah.
Like, no, can't handle it. It's like that bro. It's like I'd rather make another character and then start getting the dopamine hit again.
I
So
came
then I never end up.
I came
Sorry.
across a new player came in my stream last week, and this person did something that I've been streaming this game since 2018. I have never seen somebody do this before, and it's because they did not understand the system. And that was, he leveled up his character all the way to level 40, and he was like 40 renown rank, I want to say 40 50, but he leveled up 100% through dropped gear. So he was wearing all green gear through like drops, and he was level 40, but he never got out of his recruit ward because
Oh shit.
he didn't understand the ward system. So he was talking. So he was like, "Well, wait, how come I'm level 40, but I can't do, let's say, like a simple level 40 PQ? The mobs just destroy me." And it's because he's wearing green drop gear that he would get just off of a randomness, and he would just equip it. He didn't understand the ward system. So, and this is the guy that went all the way from level 0 to level 40, run out of rank 50 or whatever, and he didn't understand the system at all. So what I did is I took him to Altdorf, and I basically bought him, the boots and gloves all the way to Vank. And then he had like 1,000 crests that he had saved up by doing PvP warband stuff. 1,000 crests. So he had to go ahead and he had to spend, like 400 or 500 crests to buy, his shoulders, his chest piece, his things like that. But once he bought it, then he was like, okay, now I understand. Where do you think the disconnect is of why a person like that would not understand, the ward system? Like, do you think there even should be a ward system? Do you think the whole system should just be, just buy what gear you want to buy as soon as you're eligible for it and skip it all the way around if you want to? How could that ever happen? I've never seen it ever happen before. How do you think
I
that
think
something
it's
like that
a.
happens?
I think it just shows like the reality of that some people have, man. They don't live in Discord with people, and then they log on and then they play the game, and people might not actually talk to them, and they might not be a social person. So therefore, the game is actually like failed, like the community's failed them, and the game's failed them because one, they probably didn't even know about the Tomb of Knowledge to even go to look in the armory, you know. So that means that the devs might, like might need to think about a system where it like informs people somehow about the ward system, or like ding, you've hit 40, and then like bring up as soon as you hit bloody level 40, or like as soon as you hit a milestone, it brings up actually it brings up your armory from your Tomb of Knowledge, and then like has a little spiel, like it maybe even a voiceover spiel about the wards. They like obviously like that person, they fell through the cracks because what like one, the community hasn't talked to them, and two, they had like no idea about the system. So they got to 40 grinding in warbands, and no one probably talked to them once. They probably never joined a Discord, and they're probably they're one of these people that might only have an hour a day, and they don't have the time to deep dive and to assume that everyone has been playing this game for 20 years or 6 years and 8 years is a bit of a shame on us, like as I say, not everyone is people. As I say, people might just come in because like they heard about Warhammer. They're like, yeah, Warhammer's great. Oh, I fucking love Warhammer. I got the tabletop. I can play Warhammer, and they have no idea about games or game systems. And if you start hiding things like you look at the Tomb of Knowledge, it's like a information overload. Like how are people supposed to know that Ward is about gear? Do they have to rename shit? So it goes from Ward to it should be for gear unlocks. Would that be a better tab name? Do they have to rename the tabs so it's more user friendly? So so instead of Tomb of Knowledge, it could be unlocks or gear progression or something like that. It's an actual when people like mouse over it, it's actually got actual like wording that people would actually like associate with an item-based game, instead of, hey, you got to go down all through to the armory tab, fucking all the way down to the bottom, blah blah blah. Click on that now. Click on the ward. Oh, what are these fucking 7 different wards? Oh yeah, that was the. What does that mean? What does this mean? Like
What
they would
about
have no idea.
what about if they added something kind of like in a talent tree where you would be able to see your gear progression through like a talent tree type of system, almost kind of like what they have in your career tree? What about something like that to help players? Would that help them out, do you think, or was that just, or am I just being dumb and that type of logic?
Well, yeah, well, they could have something like that, like straight up like that, or like I say, you bring up your when you go to the talent trainer or something like that, there could be a gear trainer, like how they got the vendors.
Mm-hmm.
So like in the gear trainer, there's a gear trainer. So you go to the gear trainer, and the guy pops up a thing, and it's got like the actual different wards. You click on the wards, and it shows the gear sets in it. So then you can put the sets on the like the paper doll, so you can look at builds and stuff like that, and it will tell you about ward. What does it do? Like, so if you go into like the, ruin ward or whatever, like, or like whatever the ward is, and it shows like ruin gear, da 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 da, and you can, and it'll, like when you mouse over it, you click on it, it'll tell you where it's from. Like tier 4 PQ or war tokens, whatever, something along those sort of lines. So then people, when you tell them to go to the trainers, you can then be like, oh yeah, there's a renown trainer, there's a like mastery trainer. Oh, what's the gear trainer? That the game's got gear in it, doesn't it? Yeah, instantly, click, oh, what do I do when I talk to this guy? Oh, these are all the wards. What are wards? Oh, look at all these different bits of gear in this ward. Oh, these wards are in a list. Oh, yeah, the different item levels. Like it could be ward, and it's got like item level, ward item level, just like 50, like 45 to 53. Ward next ward. Then it's got the ward. So they're like, oh, wards based on item level. What? Oh, just to, like association and stuff. Yeah,
I,
shit like that.
yeah,
Yeah, I fully agree. And there needs to be something to, as I not like hold people's hands, but actually like if it's there, it's a visual cue. They can go and they can research it themselves because it shouldn't be.
yeah.
You shouldn't be relying on the community to do it.
When it came in my stream, and I was literally I felt kind of sad for this person in a way. 'Cause I'm like, how does somebody not understand or not know the system? But then I'm thinking, well, wait, I know the system because I was in the game when it was created, so I understand it. So of course I know it. But if this is your first character ever on a game that's been out for 11 years, and this is your first month, then of course you might not know it, especially if you are, let's say a introvert player. I'm not saying he or she is, but let's say for an introverted player, you play by yourself, you don't have a group of friends, you're not in a large guild, you don't play in an alliance.
Hey,
You're,
whoa,
you're
whoa, 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 pump the brakes. It's a group-based game. If they don't like it, they should leave.
Well, yeah, I mean, and who knows, he or she may actually do that, but let's
Well,
go
they
ahead.
probably will at that point.
let's go ahead and flip the conversation.
And it's sad for us because now we lose another player.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Let's flip the conversation a little bit here, and let's talk about something, another hot topic, if you don't mind. I know
Oh, hot topics. Sure.
we've been streaming now for almost 2 hours. How are you doing on your time? I know you've been awake all night long. How are you doing? I don't want to keep you.
Oh no, I haven't been. I slept in especially just so I can talk shit on your stream. I'm good.
Okay, okay.
I'm good.
Well, whenever
Sorry, stream, you got me for a while. You
Whenever-
have to listen to me rant about fucking shit.
when you
You can't escape me.
when you get tired and you say I'm done, you let me know. You cut me off.
Oh no,
otherwise, I'm good to go for another 7 hours. Honestly.
Oh, it's up to your stream. Your stream might be like sick of me going, fuck this bitch, get her out of your stream, bro. I came to fucking talk to you, not listen to this person fucking complaining about shit.
Well, they hear me rage and complain about shit all day long anyway. So anyway.
What, does your stream have any questions for me? Like, I don't know.
Let me ask him when I'll ask him. So people in the stream, if you have any questions for RageProc, please go ahead and ask, and I will relay those questions to her, and then we can go ahead and open up an open dialogue that way. But in the meantime,
I'm as honest as the question.
But let me ask you this question as well, and that is starting the archetype rework system. So I mostly know you as a tank player. I'm not saying you only play tanks, but I know you as a tank player mostly. So when I see you on the battlefield when you play Destro, I've seen you on your Chosen, and I've seen you on your Black work mostly. I do know that you have, I want to say, a Wii, but I haven't seen your Wii. I think it's your Wii anyway. I haven't seen your Wii in a while that I'm aware of. And you also
never will.
And you also have a BG. So you're mostly, I want to say, mostly a tank player. So with the skill rework system, tanks were done first, and then healers.
Oh, they were done? When did that happen? Fucking doesn't feel like it. Holy shit.
Well, quote unquote.
If I can put them back in the oven, they ain't fucking done yet, boys. Jesus Christ.
Well, tanks were quote unquote done first, and then the healers were done second, and now we're waiting on melee DPS. What do you think about the archetype rework up to this point? Now, again, we're not quote unquote done. We're waiting for the melee rework, or the DPS rework, I should say, the DPS rework. What do you think, or what is your opinion of the rework up to this point? Are you pro? Are you against? Are you more of like a let the cake bake type of situation? Let it all unfold, and then I'll give my opinion. What do you think of it so far?
I'm not a fan. It comes across to me that it's built by committee, and that the people bloody making it don't actually play the classes or play the game themselves. That's what it feels like, because like none of the changes that they've done have made my quality of life playing tank classes any better. That's just full stop. Like nothing that they've done has actually made the game better and more fun for me. So
Okay.
It feel if as they put it back in the oven, it ain't done yet. Like when I was expecting the rework, I was expecting them to actually go through about what was wrong with the classes, because they've thrown out the rock paper scissors based on gear. So therefore, if they've been updating other classes' toolkits, I thought they were going to go through and update every class's toolkit. So you have a button to push. So it goes back to being, if you push this button, I can push that button. And then not just base it on it's a group-based game, your class shouldn't have that, get good, get a group, rework. Like, no. It's like, if you're gonna optimize certain classes' toolkits, you need to optimize everyone's toolkits. If you're gonna give every class a disengage, you're gonna need to give every class that doesn't have the disengage some sort of gap closer. If they don't have a gap closer, well then you're just fucking them over. Like, it's simple as that. And like why does like every MMO tanks have a charge, tanks have a gap closer? Because the slow dot kite meta in every MMO is just not fun. And then like as soon as you start talking about it, people go, it's a group based game, you shouldn't be alone anyway, you should be in a thing, tanks don't need a gap closer. It's like, sorry, they do. Like it's just not fun for whatever reason. For you can list a million reasons why it's not fun for sorry, going back from being tank main, like, why does Shadow Warrior Assault have a charge, and me as a tank have no charge and I have no range slow? So therefore, if I come across anything ranged, you gave ranged either 1, a knockdown, 2, a disengage, 3, a perma slow, and you've increased their damage. So now my meta fighting a whole bunch of range classes is pray a mares around to do a pull, or flee action pot, but then they'll flee action pot, or throw X meta, whilst they literally just run around spamming slow.kite on you.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, now my gameplay experience is literally walking behind someone, while they get to push a whole bunch of buttons, and I'm just standing there spamming X throw. It's like, great, you know. I go flee action pot, they do their range knockdown. I get close, they do their morale 1 knockback. I get close, they do their fire cage, they do their whatever, they do their, you know, they root me. And then my gameplay just becomes, I get to be slow.kited. Oh look, Juggernaut 60-second cooldown, great. You know, this Juggernaut's not even in line with the CD of an immunity. So therefore, like, I get 1 Juggernaut, but then I'm perma slowed again. The
Yeah.
Juggernaut 5-second immunity doesn't even work. You
Yeah.
know, it's like, come on.
That's something I bitch about. You know, again on my Slayer, who is my main if no one knows. I play Slayer as a main. Is that, you know, I don't even have a immediate knockdown at my disposal. Now I do get a knockdown, but I have to build a rage for it. So I get into a fight, and I can be merely knocked down, and then I could be punted, and then I can be slowed, all before I ever get my knockdown even available to me. Which means I have to be able to get to that character all through that. If I don't, then I technically I have 1 charge and I have 1 break free. So I can possibly break free out of a root, but then I'm gonna get immediately slowed, you know, or I'm gonna get immediately punted away or immediately knocked down away. And if I charge at you, then you can just immediately push me away. So, you know, I completely understand what you're talking about there. There is no, again, people are gonna say, well, this is a group-based game. You should be in a group. This is not a solo. It's not balanced around solo. There needs to be some sort of, you know, if you have ability A, this is my counterplay to your ability A. If you have ability B, this is my counterplay to ability B. And there isn't such a thing in that type of system.
Yeah, I'm under the impression for every MMO that if you get to push a button, I get to push a button, and it's supposed to be a dance between the two of us.
Yeah.
Like, if you're pushing buttons, I'm pushing buttons. It's not supposed to be you get to push all the buttons and have all the fun, and I just get a frustrating experience. Like, sorry, that's like, it's not. It's not in the spirit of the game. Like, and if people go, it's a group-based game. If you don't like it, leave. My argument to that is, what does balancing solo? Why? How does that affect your group play? It doesn't. But not doing it affects everyone that wants to play solo. This is the argument that I counter argument. It's like, why are people that mainly play in war bands advocating for people that play solo, and then demanding that nothing changes because it doesn't, it's not going to affect them anyway. So, why can't they be happy that solo people want to play this game and they want to have a balance with, like, you play you literally play in groups, and you're complaining that people want to be able to play in solo when it doesn't even affect you. You're just like, it's a group-based game. You don't like it, leave. Well, you're just losing more players when they could try to balance it around solo as well by adding abilities which would make it so solo players could have way more fun with no expense, like with no adverse effect to a warband. Wow, you gave tanks charge. How's it going to affect warband play? It might give your front line a gap closer. It would actually make warband play a bit more fun, wouldn't it? Instead of this dead no man's land, all of a sudden your tanks have a 30-yard or a 20-yard fucking dash. On a 15-second cooldown or something like that, 20-second cooldown. Like, it actually, like, make it a bit more dynamic as well. Like, but like I say, they can add things that could make the game solo viable, which wouldn't actually break warband content, because warband content is, like, let's be real, warband content is based around 24 hit cap AoE channel meta. Let's actually be real about it. Like, is how much overlapping AoE can the warbands do versus how much overlapping AoE can your warband do, and then who's going to push and who's going to do their channel drops. Because that's literally the end game. When you see the quote-unquote sweaty, organized warbands, you will see that they will have a Bright Wizard in every group, they'll have a Sorp in every group, and then they'll have some sort of channel AoE melee DPS to get a damage proc from the Bright Wizard. So it'll be a Bomb Bright Wizard in every group, a Bomb Sork in every group, and then it'll be some channel AoE DPS, and they're all hitting for 24 hit cap on their channel. So they're bombing 3-second channel, and then the people doing the AoE bloody melee meta with a 3-second channel, pumping out 6 attacks in the 3-second, hitting 24 people with a 25% damage proc on top, and every group has a melee doing that, as well as a bomb of some sort, whether it be like an NG with napalm, or a DOK with their damage covenant, whatever. But it's generally a damage proc on top of AoE, and that's your literal warband blonde better. So how does balancing solo content and keeping solos in the game and making the game more robust in general for a larger community? Because as I say, solos will do warband content, and people in warbands will want to do solo content. It's literally just not viable for a lot of people. You play a class, guess what? You're gonna get fucking deleted by, like, you go out on destruction. You go into the zone now. Now it's just repel, blasphemy, M1 witch hunters. So if you're a melee, good luck killing a semi-geared or a geared witch hunter. They're just going to repel, blasphemy you. They're going to be stealth, do an opener on you, straight into repel, blasphemy, 100% parry for 5 seconds. They'll fucking they'll slow you, they'll go back into range, they'll re-stealth, they'll reopen on you, they'll go into the M1, 7 seconds of 100% parry. There you are, you've got no undefendable. Even if you have an undefendable, your undefendable is not going to be able to beat their burst because they're a complete burst class with armor pen, so therefore you're going to be hitting with no autos, so you're fucking dead. Wow, great game, slow clap.
Yeah.
Or you go in the zone, and then it's shamans and DPS shamans, DPS AMs, DPS maguses, or shadow warriors, and then you're slow dot kited. Good luck. Slow dot kite dot dot dot. You can fight an AM, you fight a shaman, you go in, they go dot dot dot, you get close, they go detaunt, heal, 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 heal. You're still taking 50% damage from all the dots. They fucking either knock you back or put down a sticky on the ground. They move away, spamming heals on themselves, back to their dot rotation. Dots last and they can crit on their dots. The dots still tick every bloody second. The dots don't do the 1.5 GCD like melee abilities. If you fucking got a bad ping, if you're doing channels, they'll desync the channel and it'll break. So therefore you just eat all the fucking dots. AMs have a whole bunch of built-in disrupt, so you can't even blade disrupt it. So you just fucking end up eating it. And then now you've got a whole bunch of DPS zealots and a DPS rune priest, dot dot dot, heal, 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 detaunt, blah blah, rinse, repeat. Death by 1,000 cuts, go out. Fucking fight a tank. They're all stacking regen. They've got 400 plus regen every 4 seconds. They're trying to stack out parry. So if you don't have an undefendable, or you don't have magic damage, it just, come on. Like, let's be real here. Come on, that shit, it does not. It only sounds fun for the people winning. Oh, my class can do that. I'll come across a witch hunter, they just witch brew, stacking out parry, kiss heal, witch brew. Good luck. Can you out damage their heal while they're doing corpsal bloody stacking, or while they're doing applied corpsal damage and healing? Can your class beat fucking a geared witch brew? So, and then you have to build around that. It's like, can your class beat a repel blasphemy M1 witch hunter if you're a melee, and can your class beat a bloody witch brew heal proc corpsal witch elf? It's like, and then it's like, well, I want a big glass cannon to do damage. Well, guess what? You're probably not gonna live through a whole bunch of it. So guess what? Have fun with the regen meta. And then you got a boring ass fucking fight of, and then stacking out flesh renderers and then trying to stack out parry. It's like, man, I just want to be glass cannon, bro. I just want to go and burst some fucking cunts and see who fucking dies first. Not this, the stealth changes. Now you can't break stealth with AoE, so you need to get an initiative roll, and then you can do direct single target
Actually,
abilities.
you can't break stealth at all. Even with AoE.
No, 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 you can't.
No,
Like how the
you don't even single target hits don't break out stealth. So
y-
yeah, I can beat on a witch elf in stealth endlessly, and she will not pop out of stealth. I will kill her in
well,
stealth.
yeah, it's supposed to be though. It's supposed to be the only way to break stealth is supposed to be with direct single target
Yeah,
abilities only.
doesn't work.
So you need
Yeah,
to be within 5 yards,
no.
and even then. So well, and how it actually works is if you beat on them, they cannot re-stealth perma. It will keep them in. It will keep them in the shadowy phase form, which is what they need to actually tell people is you're not actually breaking stealth. You need to be within the 5 yards, spamming single target abilities so they can't go perma stealth. So, because as soon as you stop, they're just going to go perma stealth, and you can only tag them with AoE. You can't do any more single targets.
So
That's what actually ends up happening.
let me. There was a question for you in stream.
Okay.
Somebody asked about your chosen. Let me go back here real
Yo
quick
yo.
here. And somebody asked, how's your physical chosen build goes. So is your chosen physical build? I guess that's what the question is.
Yeah. I've got my chosen is as I wanted to mean as I'm just bored of regen after 6 years. So it is what is it? It's 5-piece warlord, 4-piece Vic. So it's yeah. So and I've got the armor pen. So it's basically just cleave build, and it's as I've had to go it's completely not. I wouldn't class it as viable. It does really nice damage, but the problem is as I say, like I have no regen. So if people want to play fuck games and do the old shitty fuck and perma slow me, like if I can't catch them and get my knockdown, I'm dead because I'm gonna be perma slowed. So if I can't catch them in the flea and get a downfall on them, get a knockdown, not much I can do because one, I don't have a shield, so I've got no block, and I don't even have parry because like the whole I just like I stopped caring about parry because heaps of people run parry riposte builds as well. So you come across all these DPS now that they're basically just going to kill yourself based on parries, eat riposte. So I said fuck it with my chosen, just went full strength melee power crit. So it's yeah, so it's what is it? It's Vic helm, Vic shoulders, uh, Vic belt, and then I think the rest is warlord. Yeah, I think I've got warlord boots, warlord chest, warlord. I want to say warlord back, warlord gloves. I think. Yeah, so it's 5-piece warlord, 4-piece Vic, and it's armor pen, 2 armor pen rings, and I generally run the melee power. So it does quite a bit of damage. I can actually kill quite a bit of shit, but going back to what I was just saying before, is like one, I've got like no gap closer, and I have like no regen. So I can kill a lot of things. Like the whole point of it is like, can I kill them before they can regen? But like they say, there's certain things like if I fight, they say repel blasphemy, witch hunters and stuff like that, is like I'm relying on the cleave, and like so much to do with like the crit and stuff like this buggy, man. Like it's like such a swing and a miss. Even with 40% crit, I'll be lucky to get like 1 in 10 crit sometimes on some of these witch hunters, which is fucking absolutely broken. So I'll be hitting them and I've got like 50% armor pen on my chosen. So I'll still only be hitting them for bloody 600, maybe 700, 800 if I can get a nice bloody crit in. And they're hitting me for each hit is hitting me for 650 with the blessed bullet of plus 350, and they're healing on top of that. And then so I'm not hitting any autos as well. So I'm just basically pure cleaving. So yeah, the game's broken, man. Like in so many facets. That's why so many people do go the defense region, because they can just like, oh well, they can kill most things. You can go spirit spam chosen, where you just go left tree, relentless strike, spirit damage, and then just bloody max out your regen, and then just try to channel them down, and then just pray that your channels bypass, or you can get a channel off while you're behind them. And even then, they say you like pretty much perma slow most of the time as well. So they must be running like the offhand, which is you hit them, you get slowed or some fucking shit. because like I've come across so many that haven't even shot me in the back, bro, and I'm fucking perma slowed. So I don't know if the game's bugged where the removing all because I know that some classes have the remove restrictions from being behind. There's like an ability you can push and it removes it so you can use like your knockdown when you're not behind them. I don't know if that means that you can use it on your gun or your witch elf throw. That can actually make it so it will apply the proc
Oh,
because
fainted
you've
positioning.
removed the because you've removed the restriction from being behind. But that's what I've been noticing. So yeah, fighting witch hunters is pretty much not fun at the moment because it's just there's so many of them and it's so fucking boring, bro. It's literally the same shit. They're invisible. They get their opener. You can't break them out of the invisible, so they get their opener. They get their 2 stacks of bloody procs, and it's just basically like absolution. So it's just the absolution dragon gun, shooting you as much as they can to get the blessed bullet procs, and then hiding behind repel blasphemy, re-stealth, back into another opener, more fucking absolution dragon gun into an M1, and then that's to say they've got like what 12 seconds of 100% parry. So black orcs and shit like that will get absolutely shredded. I've seen full regen spirit spin, like we're talking like renown rank 85 chosens that are full relentless parry crit get absolutely fucking shredded. You know, and they're ending it on half health because they've pretty much taken no fucking damage. Like it's like okay, and they're healing. So like, you know, every hit there's pretty much 600 plus 300. So from a witch hunter. So they say, and they can just go pure fucking burst and then hide behind 100% parry, which is fucking broken.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it is what it is.
yeah. I don't play Destro at all, so I don't have a perspective of being a Destro character versus an Order character. However, I will say on my Slayer, which again is main, these days I lose to almost everyone 1v1 is if they are either well played or if they're like when it comes to tanks, if you're above around rank 60 and if you're in at least Vank or higher, I'm almost always gonna lose that straight up fight. And I find myself these days, where I'll hit a tank. Let's say if I fight a chosen, the chosen's hitting me for upwards of 1,000, and I'm hitting the chosen for around 300-400 on my swings, and then so I'm just getting devastated when it comes to the majority of tanks, as long as they're played well and as long as they're decently geared. The only character I honestly have a 50-50 shot against these days are witch elves. For whatever reason, witch elves I have a pretty decent success rate against most of them. Now there
They
are
have to eat all the damage.
yeah, not
I'd rather fight a witch elf than a witch hunter. As I say, they can't. If they had repel blasphemy, you'd be in the same position that
yeah,
destruction's in
and
with their choppers.
I probably would be, and I probably would be. And so I don't really have a perspective of that. But yeah, when it comes to like I'll lose to I'll lose to a shaman, I'll lose to a magus, I'll lose to a zealot, I'll lose to a chosen, I'll lose to a black orc, I'll lose to most like BGs, I'll lose to um again, the only thing I actually have any success against straight up on a straight up fight are we. That's really about it. So these days, that's all I want to fight these days are we. Which I end up coming across, you know, 10 shamans for every one we that I come across, and also these days most wees that play on the server that have been on the server for let's say 6 months or more. I I, I don't want to say this publicly, but I think a lot of them just are afraid to fight like a straight up 1v1 fight. I come across a lot more we gank groups.
Oh yeah.
2, 3, 4, 5 wees in a group instead of one we. And if there is a we, it's the old, okay, fine, I'm gonna engage. Oh no, never mind, fuck it, I don't want any more of this fight. I'm gonna stun and run. I'm just gonna knock you back. I'm just gonna knock myself back, stun you, which I can't stop, and I'm just gonna stealth and run away, and nothing I can do about it. So that's usually my
Yeah.
interactions these days. Um, what?
Yep. Well, I think the problem is as well is because they've been the balancing classes around heal channels. So like they need to up Slayer damage and remove like I don't like the fact that there's hybrid classes because it blows out the balance. Like one of the things I've noticed is that how to kill a Slayer is interrupt their heal channel. So the fact that like they're balancing the game like, oh, Slayer's good if you get the heal channel. So you got a 15, what's it, a 30-second cooldown on your channel, 20-second.
30.
So 30-second cooldown. So if you can interrupt your 30-second cooldown, you're pretty much fucked. Like if I come across a lot of Slayers or choppers, you just wait for their channel and then you interrupt it. And then people are like, oh, the balancing chopper's got the like. That's why they need to actually like remove these hybrid classes and even remove regen because it actually just makes the game unfun because like the other like fighting warrior priests and DOKs is like people say like, oh, you can just absorb and interrupts, but a lot of classes have a lot of bloody absorbs and interrupts, and even then, like it is such a small cooldown for their heal channel that they can go back to full health in one channel. It's an 8-second cooldown, so it's ridiculous. Like taunt is your 15-second cooldown, and like and most of them are parry anyway. So if you don't have a knockdown and you don't have an interrupt, you're relying on taunt, and if they parry your bloody knockdown, then you're pretty much gonna eat a whole channel. And like it doesn't matter if it's a sword DOK or a thing. So like I say, melee heal channel fighting a warrior priest is pretty much unfun, especially if you haven't got a good ping, and even if you've got a high parry and they're constantly just getting behind you with their channel. And like I've been fighting so many bloody warrior priests over the last 6 months, and I haven't had one fucking absorb stop their channel or had a parry stop a channel even with parry builds. So I'm eating full channels. So I'm going through like no joke 3 health bars and eventually dying because they got one channel through. It's like, man, this is just straight up not fun. Like that class needs to be reworked where it's not just the whole warrior priest or DOK is based around I'm gonna win if I can get my channels off, my heal channels off. It's like that's fucking lame, you know? And it's just like with slayers and choppers, like your class shouldn't be balanced around the fact you've got a heal channel in your left tree, and if you don't do it, then you're pretty much gonna lose most fights. And if you get an interrupt, you're gonna pretty much fucking die because other people are just gonna out regen you. And then if you're fighting, let's say like rune priests or zealots now or shamans and AMs, the fact that they can just hide behind a detaunt and then just spam heals on themselves. It's like so they're just gonna war of attrition, death by 1,000 cuts. It's like it's actual boring gameplay. It's like you go into the zone, you come across another regen bloody tank, and you're fighting. You're standing there for 5 minutes. It's like I just want to walk away. It's like, bro, I don't want to fight you because I don't want to be drinking pots. 'Cause it's getting expensive just to stand here and like I'm not even like even with pots like I just don't want to drink pots fighting other regen tanks. I'd rather it be TTK of 30 seconds to a minute maximum. Like there's a fight on my channel which is me fighting I think it's a repost parry. It's KHU. It's that slayer that roams around, and it's on my black orc that's got like a I don't know if it's a parry. I don't know if I was parry at that point, but it's just fighting my black orc. And it's a no joke. The fight is 4 minutes and 30 seconds. Boring as fuck. And it's just basically like, can I keep on interrupting their heal channel? And I'm just waiting for the heal channel while we're slowly trying to kill each other because he's all parry and repost, and I'm just spamming damage on him, and I've got regen, so I'm regenning, and he's trying to get his heal channel. And eventually I won after 4 minutes and 30 seconds because I managed to interrupt his heal channels.
I think he's also
So
regen. I think he's also regen as well. I think he plays
yeah,
the regen tactic and gear. I know who he is. Or at least I've
yeah,
heard
but
of him.
boring. Like
Yeah.
literally 4 minutes and 30 seconds. Like, come on, man. I don't want to be fighting people in a zone for 4 minutes and 30 seconds. I'd rather it be 2 minutes maximum, you know? It's like, who's gonna kill each other? Like, you push buttons, I push buttons, who's gonna die? Not who can stack the most regen or who can detaunt and heal or who's got heal channels or who's got the better ping. Like, come on,
So
in my opinion.
what would you like to see in the whatever the upcoming DPS rework is? What would you like to see of in that DPS rework? Like what changes? If you were to play, let's say, um, a non-tank class or a non-healing class as your main, what changes would you like to see be made? That way, it'd make it fun for you as a solo slash small scale player, and also for warband type players.
Well, what I want, I don't know if it's to answer the question, but I want them to add a magic penetration stat if they to unify it with physical damage. I want like if you're making a whole bunch of classes waste a whole bunch of stat points on weapon skill, spirit damage and magic damage have to do the same. So whether they need to pick a willpower or some random arbitrary stat that means fucking nothing, and then force people to dump points into it if they want to up their damage, because it's just you're just so over optimized. So now, as I say, what I want them to do is look at the metas and ask why are they the metas, and then make it so that it's viable to not have to do those metas. You know, physical damage should be viable, and it shouldn't be a complete headache to try to make it viable because, as I say, you have to stack weapon skill, and everyone in other classes don't. And then, as I say, I want them to lower healing. Yeah, I want them to lower healing by. I'll give you my wish list is probably the easier way. I want them to add a magic penetration stat. I want them to lower healing in general by like 25 to 33%. I want them to make guard. I want them to lower guard. I want them to like lower guard to 40%, and I want it to make them for sword and board, and I want them to lower it to 20% for two hand to make you make a choice. If you're gonna go two hand, you only get 20% guard. If you want to have pure guard, go sword and board and you get 40%, 50% too much. I want them to make so any damage, whether it's a tick or anything, will break fucking detaunt. I don't want people like healers hiding behind. If you're putting heals and dots on people, sorry, you shouldn't be allowed to detaunt and then start spamming heals. Even if it's 50%, I just want them to. Sorry, you put dots, you no detaunt. You're gonna eat damage. You know, I want them to add like gap closers. Like if you're gonna give people disengages, I want them to add gap closers. You know,
But those are changes to tanks and healers. What about changes to actual DPS? So the tank
well,
rework is technically quote unquote done. Like we said, the healing rework is quote unquote done. To mostly to
they need to revise it all though. Like, well, damage classes, I want them to say add a magic penetration stat to make them have to dump points into magic penetration stat, and then make it that if there's damage classes, they can't be hybrid heals. I don't think they need to remove hybrids, like straight up. There should be no healing. Like healing should be healing. If you want to be a healer, you go fucking healer. There shouldn't be a I'm gonna be a DPS and I'm gonna like death by 1,000 cuts should not be a thing, because it's not. What's the point of death by 1,000 cuts in a warband? It's not warband play. It's solo play. Like how is death by 1,000 cuts warband play when you basically got healers? So you're supposed to be pumping out as much damage as possible, not trying to do slow damage over fucking 4 minutes and 30 seconds to try to kill one person. Like, it's not optimized warband play, so why is it in the game? It was in the game because some devs back in the day wanted to play solo classes with the classes that they were playing, and they optimized certain builds, and they didn't get round to doing the other stuff because they weren't playing those classes at the time. And then now they've left, and they've left that legacy of certain classes having optimized for solo play. That's the actual truth of it. There's been devs in the game that have played certain classes at certain points, and they wanted to do solo shit, so they've updated it, and they didn't update the other stuff. So now certain classes have certain toolkits that other classes don't. So as I say, I want them to unify shit. If you're gonna give certain classes something, give the other classes something. And until they do, is the rework will never be done to me, and I'll complete. As I say, they need to go back to the drawing board.
so yours.
Tanks are not done. Healers are not done.
Well, I mean, you and I might not say they're not done, but in the form of what the dev team is, they're done. At least mostly done. But
Now then, put it back in the oven. She ain't done yet.
So you're advocating. I want to make sure I understand this correctly, and also the viewers understand it correctly. So you're advocating. Let's take a class like Magus. So you're saying a Magus damage, since it's mostly magical damage on some level and not physical, like most engineers are. You're saying that for a Magus damage to improve, they need to have some sort of spec or ability or something to spec into for magic penetration. And like so instead
Correct.
of armor pen, they needed magic penetration.
Correct.
A resistance on your opponent isn't enough. You want them to spec into a magic pen.
Well, what's the resistance? It's just like armor. So what's the point? Like they nullify each other. But magic damage is way more damage. Like if we're talking like base damage, if you have no armor pen, then like you can put an armor pot on and you can turn resistance on, so you can have, you know, whatever armor you want and you can have whatever resistance you want. Like magic damage is way more fucking universal because you can just keep stacking your main stat and you're gonna, you know, like might start off like that, but you can just keep stacking your main stat and then all of a sudden you're up here and they're down here, and if you don't start wasting points you might get up to here, like halfway, you know, like it's just stat allocation. If you My just thing is, if you're gonna make people waste stats on a penetration for physical, then you need to make people waste stats for magic, because it is not the same. That's why people all want magic. That's why do people want to do ether dance, spirit spam? Why do people want to do relentless spirit damage chosen? You know, why do sword master spirit spam? Why do people want to do anything which will have like a? Why do people want to do corpsal damage? Why do people want? You know, it's because it bypasses armor. You don't have to worry about weapon skill, so you can therefore just dump your points into your main stat. Dump your points into crit. You don't have to. You can just start allocating and streamlining your stat points. Like, you know, I can just focus on strength. I can just focus on intellect. You know, I don't have to worry about a fucking penetration. So now I'm freeing up 200 main stats now. You know, like you see, like engineers or even my chosen. Like I've had to like stack up to like 500 weapon skill just to get my cleave on par with a ravage. Like I could dump all that points into strength, and then my ravage will be way more powerful, and I haven't had to stack any weapon skill. And I could just do like if I compared a ravage to a cleave, and I have to stack 500 points of weapon skill and armor pen to try to get my cleave to do the same amount of damage, if not even get close to a ravage.
And if I'm not, and if
that's,
I'm not, and if
you know,
I'm not mistaken, now again, correct me if I'm wrong here, because again, I don't play Destro. Ravage is basically spammable, correct?
yeah, it's low cost and it's spammable,
Yeah.
and it's spirit damage. So that's why people want to do spirit damage chosen. It's like you can go left tree, you put a point into the crit tactic, which gives you, for great weapons, it gives you 15% crit, and it converts your 3-second damage channel from a physical to a spirit damage. So you can spam Ravage, which is spirit damage, and then you can spam your Relentless, which is a damage channel, which is spirit damage. So therefore, you don't have to stack any weapon skill. You can just stack wounds and strength, and then start dumping points into toughness and other stuff. Just you can literally completely 100% ignore weapon skill, just like Maguses. Maguses don't, like, look at Engies. Like when you start comparing them, that's why like a whole bunch of Engies are starting going for fucking napalm builds and stuff like that. They're trying to get away from physical damage and just be, let's sit it on a turret and then just rely on my morales, which is true damage, and then just rely on napalm, which will stack and eventually try to kill something. So I'm just going to focus on wounds, toughness, and napalm damage. Let's start bypassing the physical damage because I'm to waste stats on it.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Yeah.
it's a bit silly, you know. And then
So
you compare Black Orc to Swordmaster. Black Orc stats you have to start dumping into weapon skill, or you'd literally start doing garbage damage. So if you compare Swordmaster to Black Orc, which are supposed to be mirrors, instantly Swordmasters are way better because their Ether Dance is spirit damage. And then they've got another one, which is one of the other ability, which is their 1.5 GCD spammable ability, is spirit damage as well. And they get a Griffin Slash, which is an undefendable physical damage. So Swordmaster can go Ether Dance spirit damage, they can go single target spirit damage, they can go undefendable physical damage. Black Orc can go physical damage, and that's it.
yeah. Yeah. No, I mean,
So it's like, okay,
I understand the physical damage argument. Again, as my Slayer is all
yeah,
physical damage, so I have, I got to stack into, like, my Slayer has like 100 toughness, and he's got, like, not even 1,000 strength and not even 1,000 weapon skill, because I have to basically allocate the two. I didn't overly stack one over the above the other because I tried to build mine kind of even. Otherwise, I felt that, if I went, let's say 1050 strength, then my weapon skill is going to be, 680, and I was like, okay, well then I'm not gonna have any, any bypass or anything, so I gotta get my weapon skill higher, so that way I can do a little bit of bypass. But now I also have to worry about with the whole weapon skill changes to parry and things like that. Well, now I got to stack, initiative, so I can try to get some defenses on initiative and things like that built up. So now I have to worry about, three three things, and I have no defenses. So, it is what it is. I'm not trying to whine about it, but I fully understand what you're trying to say. Um,
Yeah, it's. I just want them to make. If you're making it for one lot of people, it needs to be for other. If you're gonna make, as I say, if you're gonna make Slayers jump through the bloody hoops and have to stack 3 different stats to try to be optimized, then you should make everyone jump through 3 different fucking hoops. It shouldn't just be, oh, your class is going to be super convoluted and you're gonna have to fucking you're gonna have to be like the best in slot gear because it's got the best stats, and you still fucking stack 3 stats. And then this class over here, guess what? You could just stack one stat and hey, GG. Like,
so
whoa.
so besides doing like a magic pen ability for magic classes, what else would you like to see, like the DPS rework? Is there anything else
I'd
that you'd
like
like
them
to
to
see
bring
rework?
I'd like them to bring the counter back for stealth, so all damage can break stealth, whether it be dots, AOE, physical damage. Like people shouldn't be able to like have horrible positioning and stand in the middle of a fucking road and then like eat damage and then just walk away and then most of the time not even get an initiative roll. Like I want them to do that. Um, yeah, I would like them to remove pulls. I would like them to remove the white line pet because it's fucking buggy and broken. I'd rather them up the damage of white line and make them like lore accurate. Get rid of their pet and just make them an actual from the codex. So rework white lines. Um, what else? Like Jesus, like melee squig. I'd rather them make them a pet class where they have like a whole bunch of squigs instead of turning into a squig, where they can like actually use a squig to fight with and have like a spear or something like that. Something fucking cool, something more class. What I would like them to do is bring out the codexes, bro, and start like being like, how can we make this feel like fucking Warhammer and go nuts? I'd rather them go nuts and try and be like, man, this is fucking cool from the codex. Look at these, shaman squig herders. They like they have a trident or a net or a horn, and then they enrage a bloody squig, and then they send a squig in. But it's like, oh, what do we got? We got a boring ranged with broken pet, ranged pet, or we've got melee fucking meatball, which is pretty memes at the moment as well. Like, they removed the ranged knockdown from squigs, so now squig herder range roaming is pretty much fucking gimped because you don't have a knockdown to help you with your kite. But yet, you know, other classes have range knockdowns, so shit like that. Yeah, I just love them to pull the codex down and go, let's go fucking nuts. Oh, squig herders. What's squig herder from the codex? What's white line from the codex? Oh, what's hard to balance in the game? And be like, well, what's hard to balance in the game is generally pets. So pets have generally been broken, so I'd be like, well, just remove them, and then like you'd give like squig herders like a flavor where the pets are always generally around them, so they've got like a rage mechanic where they might have a backlash as well. Give squig herders like a backlash with their squig. If they enrage their squigs too much, the squigs can start like turning on them. Fucking cool little shit like that. I don't know, make them like a multi squig squig herder where they've got like 3 squigs or just one big squig, and you could have the one with like a horn, like like a horn spec where they're like boosting via like buffs, or they could have like a net one where they're doing like with slows and stuff like that to catch people, or like a spear, like trident, shit like that. I'd rather them to make like just squig herders remove their range completely and build them around squigs and melee. um, oh, there's a whole bunch I'd love them to fucking do. To be honest, I could talk hours about what I'd like them to do.
Well, I'll tell you what I want, but first thing, I actually have a question for you from, again, the stream audience. Um, Zarfe asks, what do you think is the most quote unquote balanced class these days? Now, balanced is very subjective, but in your opinion, what is the most balanced class these days? And Zarfe, thank you for the question.
I honestly don't know because everything's so all over the place. Like I think everything needs to be looked at, you know, because like everything's got something that's like completely game breaking that needs to be sort of reworked or looked at, you know, like
I'll,
classes are missing stuff, so they'll never be balanced, you know, like I can't say any of the tanks classes are balanced because, well, they've got like, no, as I go back to refer to my rant about the no gap closes and stuff like that, you know, magic damage isn't balanced because there's no penetration, so then physical damage isn't balanced because you have to waste points, you know, stat allocation. Healing I think is completely overtuned, you know, like hybrids can abuse detaunts and shit like that, you know, like I th- I th- I don't think anything is actually. I think everything's all over the place. The rock paper scissors has completely been busted, so I can't really answer that
I,
because
I,
I don't think anything
well,
is balanced or optimized.
I'll give my answer. I know you're gonna disagree with. That's fine. First person. If the question is what class is the most balanced, which doesn't mean is balanced, it just means which one is the most balanced. And basically like asking, what piece of shit is the best piece of shit. That's how I'm looking at this question. So to me the
God.
most so to me the most balanced to me is Doc or Warrior Priest. Now the reason why I say that is because a Doc or Warrior Priest, in my opinion, is able to kind of do everything. If they want to do PvE, they're viable. If they want to do PvP, they're viable. If they want to do DPS, they are viable. If they want to do healing, they're viable. If they want to do group play, they're viable. If warband play, they're viable. If they want to do solo play, they're viable. So in my opinion, the Doc slash Warrior Priest class is the most balanced only because it's able to do the most content of almost all the classes across the board. Doesn't mean that it's the best across the board, but it's able to do the most content across the board, which makes it most fun for as many people as possible without feeling, in my opinion, so overtuned or so undertuned that it's not fun. So that's my answer to that question. It doesn't make it the best class across the board. It just makes it the most viable play in many different apps. That's my answer. Um, that's my answer. That's my answer to that question. What do you think
Yeah,
about
my
that?
range.
What do you think about that? Do you agree? Disagree? Let me know.
Uh, well, if you're basing on like what can do content, yeah, well, it's up there, yeah. I say you can heal. They say you can go book, you can go shield, you can go two hand. You know, so yeah, you can give most of it a go. I wouldn't really like solo roam, probably not so much, but definitely like small scale, yeah. Like solo roam, you're just gonna get kited by ranged, but yeah, it falls into the other thing, but yeah, it can do a lot of the content. Like, so like DOK would be on this would be on the same par. You can do a lot of content. You can go swords, you can go bloody shield, you can go chalice, and they've got a huge amount of healing, so they're great healing for warbands. You know, they can go physical damage, so they're really good for fucking small scale for small scale groups because they can do burst damage with debuffs. So I'll probably say DOK over Warrior Priest. I don't know if Warrior Priest has got a heal debuff. So DOK does. So DOK's got a heal debuff, so it's great for small scale and it's great for warbands with their chalice. They can pump out fucking huge amounts of healing. PvE, yeah, they're great as well. Say healing or melee DPS, especially with they used to be really good because of their physical damage healing, which would bypass some of the boss mechanics to do with healing reflect, e.g. like in Bastion Steer. Mara, I'd say Mara's up there. Mara's pretty good. Like I say, you can be meme fucking regen if you really want and just fucking meme it. You can always welcome. Like if you're wanting like invites, your Mara will get an invite to pretty much all content. Like you can go into like you might not be able to do the fast sniffing ranked because you might not be able to pump out enough AoE damage and people might just target you and burst you down. But like pull, everyone wants the pull for the memes because it's fucking it's memes, so lols.
I would.
White Lions getting up there, probably the White Lions, probably one of the more optimized ones because their channel is fucking nutty. Their pet knockdown. Lone Wolf is great for warbands, bonus damage, armor pen. So White Lions is pretty up there. Solo roam, White Lions not so much nowadays, just because like depends on if you want to go meme. Like you can go memes and go full regen, and then you just depends if you want to abuse like the pet and just keep people permaslowed and yank people around and shit like that. But you know you um Wheeze and Witch Hunters, fucking solo Witch Hunter. No one really wants fucking Witch Hunters for warbands. No one wants Wheeze for fucking warbands, just because people don't really do the morale drain builds. So probably Wheeze would probably get more invites than Witch Hunters because I've seen more AoE knockdown morale dump Wheeze joining warbands than I have seen with Witch Hunters. Tank wise, you know, Chosen and Ether Dance Sword Masters right up there. I say because you can use the spirit damage and you can go the great sword and board, the great two hand. So yeah, I'd say probably like I don't like the actual mechanic for the stage mechanic. So if you're looking at like ease of use and being thing, Chosen over Sword Masters, but right up there. Blackguard and Black Orc fall into the same sort of problem of weapon spam, weapon skill. So they're not really as optimized. I'd probably like Blackguard probably over Black Orcs just because they can go left tree and get the Crimson Death. That's pretty good, and they can still do crit without being based on the stages. Black Orcs all over the place. It's real hard to get stats, and they've moved the two things that you might want to do, which is like the chop faster and then like the Warg to get a auto haste build. You have to go like 6 piece, and it's not really efficient. So you start lacking strength and shit like that if you want to stack weapon skill as well. So you're just so unoptimized for stat stacking. If you don't want to do the complete parry, fucking tree hit, regen spam. AMs is better than Shamans because AMs can wipe Shaman dots and they get a whole bunch of bypass built into their fucking stuff. Rune Priest probably better than Zealots because I've been like duoing with a Rune Priest when they're quite bursty now. They can actually like melt tanks. So Rune Priest is pretty bursty. Zealots can be like I say death by 1,000 cuts, but you can like there are like quite a few order classes that can counter them, but it's hard to counter like a rune priest nowadays, just because they're like, as they can put the rune heal on the ground, get their fucking shield procs, and then they can still do their death by 1,000 cuts. But so your rune priest over zealot. What else we got? Squig herder. No, they've lost their meatballs. Pretty memes. Like their slam can get interrupted. Like their meatball spam, their knockdown. The only thing that's pretty alright is their like was it their knockback, their AoE knockback charge thing? That can be a pain in the ass. Range, no physical damage problems again, no knockdown, and then so it's better than that. Shadow Warriors, I think Shadow Warriors are right up there, but they're underutilized. I think Assault's one of the best melee specs in the game, but people don't use it. It's people don't realize how good it is. It's like you get a charge, it's actually really good. I've seen like an actual geared good Shadow Warrior like fighting an actual burst witch hunter, and they fought each other and they died in like fucking 3 seconds. Both of them, they were like dead in like under 6 seconds. Both of them they died at the same time. Like people don't realize how actual like good assault is, and not to mention like when you go assault, you get a whole bunch of like defensives and shit. Like I think it increases the armor. Just swapping stances. Assault's super powerful. Their range is crazy broken as well. Broad arrows and shit like that. They're hitting people for 1,500 to 3k range knockdown. Disengage. They can leap away. They can still knock back with morales. Bright Wizards versus Sorks. Sorks are probably like the worst of everything, really. You can't solo with them. Bright Wizards can do like Glim Shimmer, slow dot kite, slow bit, like basically just meme people to death with regen. They can go like Glimmer, Flesh Renderer, regen, and then just like quite literally just boiling blood and just fucking whatever it's called, just constantly spam dots, and then same thing. They can cage you, they can range knock you down, they can knock you back, so they can kill a lot of shit. It's just fucking memey regen though. Yeah, I don't know if that helps, but that, yeah.
Okay.
Is that all the classes? But yes, Sork's fucking worst of the lot.
Well, I mean, I think Astro would probably
Oh,
disagree
Magus
with you,
Engie.
but
Oh, Astro's always in like a warband or a fucking thing, and he's just geared burst damage, but you'll never see him solo. I'm just saying, like in general, like
yeah.
bomb spec bright wizard. You can go bomb spec bright wizard. Always got a group. Not to mention, like say you apply the damage proc, and then if you really want to meme it with solo play, you can. You can just say glimmer chest and flesh renderers, and then run around the zone and just fucking slow dot kite people to death and just fucking laugh about it. NG versus Magus. NG's not bad if you want to be a turret fucker and just sit there on top of napalm and then just wait for morales. But Magus in general, just because like you don't have to worry about weapon skill, so you can you can just like stand there and just spam. It's like again Magus is just it's just as memes as a whole bunch of other stuff. They just sit on their turret and just spam a whole bunch of magic damage, and you can't do anything about it, and you just eat it while they sit on their pet and just spam AoE damage and then just do their channel on you. So Magus over NG. I think that's all of them. Yeah.
Yeah, probably agree with you on that.
Oh,
So
Cobbs isn't too bad, but Cobbs doesn't really have like a proper decent crit build. I'm playing Cobbs at the moment, and they're in a weird place. As I didn't like the fact that they moved the Rune Fang into the left tree, and they should have left it in the right tree. But even then, it's like I can understand why they moved it to the left tree because it gives a weapon skill proc, and then there's precision strike based on the left tree, so I can understand why they did it. But it's just, this doesn't feel nice. Like as they having to like tactic into arc swing to try to lower crit. You just don't have enough tactics really. But yeah.
So I was actually just going to
So,
ask you. So what are you playing these days? And you just answered me up before I even asked you. So you're currently playing a Cobbs. Are you leveling it? I mean, I actually know this answer, but I want to ask for the audience. Are you leveling it? What stage are you at on your Cobbs?
I just did RR70, so the Cobbs is I've just been memeing it with a shield, but as I say, I'm not really a fan of of regen. So I'm at a stalemate, like because I've just hit 9k crest, so I'm at the stage of do I want to try to make a meme what sort of build do I want to do? And do I want to do death by 1,000 cuts sword and board? Or do I want to go and try to do a crit based build with arc swing? But even then, so I'm umming and ahhing if I want to stay sword and board just to do a hybrid crit sword and board with like a biting blade to try to get more stacks because they made it so dots crit. So like blazing blade like is actually like it's an initial physical hit, but then the dot's actual elemental, so that's where like you don't really have to stack weapon skill. You can just like stack out strength, and people don't like stacking strength on us. They always start saying that like it's not efficient to stack strength, but like once you like start stacking crit mixed with blazing blade, and then I don't know, I might want like try to hide behind block so I can get the block up quite high. So but the problem is as well is like crit's so expensive via renown. So like if I want to go sword and board, I can't go parry block crit for renown points. I have to go like block crit and then futile strikes. I won't have enough points because crit's so expensive. So then I might be like, do I even want to do coordination, which adds on 20% parry to shield rush? So and then like what tactics do I want to do? Because like Emperor's Ward is great for an absorb. 3-second cooldown. You can't crit on an absorb, so it's just great having a 25% chance every 3 seconds to stop any crits based on what's going on in the meta. Power of the Gods and Bellow commands is like really, really powerful. Like it's 5 AP per second per aura, so you can pretty much have perma hold the line on chosen or on Cobbs. So it's a really powerful fucking AP regen aura. You can quite literally like perma hold the line. And if I don't want to do that, and then I have to start stacking more APs, and then like, do I want to do, do I want to like, what sort of, I'm in the, what do I want to do with gear? Because I'm getting to the point where, do I want to buy the Triumphant ring first, or do I want to buy the Victitious ring? And then it depends on what sort of stats can I get, like, because the Vic versus the Tri, the Vic I can go down 4-piece and get 5% damage, or the Tri I can go down to 4-piece and get 7% parry, dodge, block. The Vic I get the strength for the 2-piece wounds, and then yeah, strength, it goes strength, wounds, 5% damage, and then the Tri goes toughness, wounds, defensive, and then it's like, well, what do I want? Do I want to like, will I need the extra strength? Because there's if you're going to be like doing any sort of damage base, I'm going to be like, how close to like 1,000 strength can I get? And if I'm not going left tree because I want to max out the right tree because of Blazing Blade, that means I can't get Rune Fang. And if I'm not doing parry, then there's no point taking the Rune Fang because I won't get the procs as much. So do I want to do a pure block build base with crit, try to get my crit close to 30%, and then base on Blazing Blades? So then I could do a try DPS solve. So I could do try DPS solve. So I'd get like 4-piece try, 5-piece DPS solve, get the 6% crit, 15% crit damage bonus, still get the strength and the wounds. Then I'd be able to keep my 10k wounds, and then I'd have close to like 50% block, and then I would still have a base of like around 20% parry, but it's mainly based on block. And then I'd be able to have biting blades, which biting blades adds on a dot, but also lowers their parry by like 5%, their chance to parry by 5%, so therefore it becomes like biting blades is actually quite powerful. And then blazing blade ticks can proc that. Oh no, blazing blades can't proc the actual damage tick, sorry, my bad, but the damage tick can crit. So I'd end up having like way more dots, so then I'd be able to like just spam blazing blades, hope for a crit on the actual initial cast of the blazing blade. And then you can also go right tree as well, and you get the AP drain. So you got that. So it'd be Blazing Blade, AP drain. I forget what it's called. And then you'd be like doing a shield rush. So shield rush 10% block. So yeah, I'd have close to like 55% block. So that's I'm leaning towards 4-piece try, 5-piece DPS solve, and then doing like trying to get like a 30%, basically like a 30% crit sword and board, Blazing Blade crit with biting blade to add more, so I can try to get a bit of bursty but a whole bunch of dots, because like the blazing blade as class as elemental damage, don't have to worry about armor. 3 stacks lasts for like quite a while, so you can keep it up perma, and then you can like critting for like on that for like 600 to 700 with a blazing blade dot crit. So, and that ticks every second, so therefore like I say, dots are more efficient because they're based on 1 second versus 1.5. So yeah, TLDR,
No,
probably Triumphant and Solve,
I will
5-piece Solve. Yeah,
I will
not too
certainly
much regen.
I will certainly be talking to you about that, because one of my other alts is actually a cob as well, and he's low. I mean, he's 40, but he's only in like renown. I want to say 50 at the moment. I just have a hard time wanting to play him because I find him very boring to play. I'm very like, I love my Slayer because it's like kind of like you said. It's either TTK is like I either die fast or I kill fast. I'm not sitting there fighting for a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, like I am. Let's say like a night would be potentially anyway. So I find myself getting bored playing the knight, so I've just never really worked on him very much. Plus, I've
I'm
also
getting bored too.
plus I'm
Like
also
that's why. Sorry.
plus I also, the knight is the only character I've ever done the dungeons on. So like I've got to do Bastion Stairs on my knight because I want to get, I've done Gunbad and Crypts with him, which is the only tune I've ever done that on, because I want to have the experience on it. But I find myself not wanting to play him just because it's just boring to play for me. It's just I find it mind numbing. So you and I certainly will be talking about that in the future when it comes to builds, because I want to build them I'm gonna build them with high block. I want to have them, around 10,000 wounds, but I want to be able to kill something with the sword and board, and I just don't know if I have it in me to grind that out to go through that because it's like, well, why play that if I can just play my sword master? You know.
Oh, at the moment, like my gear, like if we're talking like right now, the gear that I've got is 4-piece onslaught, and then the rest is bloodlord. So it's 3-piece bloodlord, 4-piece onslaught, and then it's 2 flesh renderer rings. So I've got like, and then it's the fortress one-handed sword, and then the renowned shield. Like I can kill a lot of things based on like, but it's what I'm finding boring is it's death by 1,000 cuts because there's no crit involved, and that's why I want to go down the crit thing to make it a bit more bursty because like just spamming blazing blade and then just watching just pure tick damage it comes down to quite literally like I can't kill if I want to stay on that mentality. If someone out regens my dots, I physically won't be able to kill them. So if someone like wants to go complete memes and go full regen, like e.g. like a witch brew or a full best in slot, two-handed parry regen tank, the odds are that it doesn't matter how much strength I have, the blazing blade dot will only be able to like physically to be able to do so much without the burst from the crit. So that's where like because it's been umming and ahhing about the gear. Would I want to go down the warlord and then do the regen because like you can go the warlord and you'd get the warlord chest and the warlord boots, and then that would give you like 80 regen chest, 40 regen boots, and then you give you some parry. Versus like if I go the DPS sov, if I want to have any regen, I'll basically be basing it on like the shoulders, which is plus 64. So it's way less regen, but it would give me more. I'd have to go like the chest for the AP, and then I'd have to go swap out my main hand weapon for the renowned weapon for the AP because like I'd want to drop bellow. If I drop bellow command, which is that AP aura that I was talking about, or the 5 AP per aura, which is 15 action points per second, I'd have to like find the AP regen from somewhere else because there's nothing worse than having to drink pots. So yeah, that's where this is that like if I want to free up a tactic slot, I would have to go like DPS of chest, which is like I think plus 6 AP, and then the renowned weapon, which is another plus 3, and then as you get plus 3 from the Victry rings, Sentinel rings, so then I could be at like plus 12. So that would like that's the trade-off is like
Mhm.
free AP from a tactic from bellow commands or drop the regen, go crit via solve, and then try to like hope that the burst will kill them faster than trying to do death by 1,000 cuts with melee power and regen. Because that's a trade-off. Is can I do more damage before I die based on like removing that regen? So it's yeah, and to be honest, like it's just fun seeing big numbers. So I'm probably just gonna like it's hard to like not chase crit just because like as a dopamine hit, it's like nothing better than seeing a crit. It's like, oh, yeah, it makes you doing damage, But yeah, I'll
Yeah,
theory craft with you anytime, bro.
yeah, no, I am actually quite amazed at your talent, your actual ability, your actual mind talent to remember all this shit. Because I can't remember on any of my characters. You ask me on my Slayer, which I've been playing my Slayer since 2017, what my Warlord chess piece has for stats. I have no fucking clue. And here you are, you've labeled off chosen swordmasters, squig herders, docks, knights, orcs. You've labeled, gone over all their gear, their stats, their abilities, their cooldowns. How do you remember all this shit?
Because I don't know what I did yesterday. My brain, bro. Like Yeah, like I'll like unmedicated ADD, bro. Like I can't medicate myself because it flares up my nerves. So it gives my brain something to think about. But like I literally can't. Like my brain doesn't like retain stuff that doesn't like find interesting. So like if you want, I'm terrible at spelling. I'm terrible at like complex math. You know, like I'm terrible at like directions. Like you could ask me about a map or something I'm not interested in, and my brain would be like, "Bleh," you know, like. But if you ask me about something that my brain finds interesting, then it would like hyperfixate on it, and then it would like so like I can remember all this random shit which is completely useless for the real world. So, but it's what my brain likes to think about. E.g., like I say, the going back to the player agency and theory crafting and stuff like that. It's just fuck. It's just interesting. My brain, like like I don't want to die. I want to try to have fun. And over since playing for like since 2018, like I've had to fight every single class pretty much solo. So you're kind of forced to like learn it, I guess you can say. Like it's just ingrained. Like I say when you're a no lifer and you're playing all day every day, you're generally like say I have to rely on like visual cues and audio cues and stuff like that because I can't have a lot of visual clutter. So like my buff head will only show like who's got guard and who might have like oath stone or some reflectability, which is a visual like for me to like not attack because they'll be lost in all the buffs. But I can't have like a whole bunch of visual clutter because then like my my brain will try to like hyper focus on the clutter and not what's going on. That's why I can't play like League of Legends and stuff like that. There's just too much visual stimuli on the screen for me to be like I just lose track of my character because all of a sudden my brain goes into like um metadata mode instead of macro, so it tries to like analyze everything that's on the screen instead of like, and I have no idea where my character is, even though my brain knows my character is in the center of my screen. But but because of how they've done the thing, yeah, it's my fucking dumb brain, bro. I,
Well,
like,
I mean, at least for the game, you honestly amaze me. I mean, I'm listening here talking to you, and I'm like, does she have a a wiki in front of you where you know all of these stats, all of these abilities, all their cooldowns, all their damage types? Like, are you reading something, or do you just memorize all this shit? Because it just amazes me. Um,
I'm steering on my OBS right now. I'm poor. I've only got one monitor. So subscribe, give me all your money. I need
so
give me any subscription. Give me subscriptions. I need to crank up my fucking ad revenue.
so
Maximum ads. But when I'm gonna stream later today.
I'm just amazed by it. So I will certainly be talking to you, about night play and things like that because, like, like my knight, like I said, he's only like renown rank 40 or 50 because I've just been doing dungeons on him right now. He's like full sentinel, and I just don't really know what I want to do with him at this point. Like,
Cool.
do I like okay? Do I really want to play him, or do I just want to say, you know what, fuck it, and just play a swordmaster, or which I have a round rank 70 swordmaster. Just play the swordmaster for the damage, and just say it's just more fun. Or do I want to say, okay, you know what, I'm going to focus on my Ironbreaker and just play Ironbreaker and just tell the knight, you know what, you're gonna go get Dusty over there in the corner, and I'm just gonna forget about you. I just don't know what I want to do with them at this point because I just find them boring. So I will certainly talk to you about night play. Um, so
Well, there's still a whole bunch I haven't deep dived in. I say like this is all just sort of like macro data. Like there's like um um macro would be like the stuff to do with like how the damages stuff works between like guards with bellows and all that sort of stuff. I haven't deep dived into the like what's more efficient, like if you do a bellow when you got guard, all that sort of stuff. Like I don't really care too much about that. It is what it is. I'm not that I know about it, but I haven't deep dived into like if I do a challenge on someone that's like, if I do challenge, how much, like, will that 30% lower the incoming damage because, is it converting the damage based on like their, because of how guard damage works and stuff like that. My biggest advice for like a tank is decide if you want it to be two-hander or sword and board right from the get-go.
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
go from there.
yeah. I decided in the very beginning that if I build a knight, right when I made the knight, I said he's going to be sword and board. Because again, I have a two-handed sword master already, so I was like, I saw no point in going, two-hander, two-hander, two-hander in all of my tanks. I wanted to have. I'll actually tell you what gave me the idea, and I stole the idea. This is not original at all, but do you remember a knight? His name was Fujisaki. You know who
Oh
Fujisaki
yeah,
is?
he was like oh, what was his name? Old Gigi's bloody arch nemesis, old Fuji, who was always playing with them. Then Gigi flipped over, and
Yeah,
then
yeah,
Fuji was all left all by themselves. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. He played a lot with Formosa and things like that. But Fuji was. I remember watching Fuji in a lake one time, and he was running by himself, and he had like 6 or 7 guys beating on him, and he literally would just stand there and just let him beat on him, and they couldn't kill him because his regen and defenses were so high. And I
Yeah,
was
but
like,
he won't kill anything though. He has
and
like zero
no,
damage.
no, he wasn't killing anyone. No, he was not. But I was like, that's what I want. I want to build a
Oh,
tank. I want to build a tank that it just annoys the fuck out of people. Doesn't kill anything, but just has 5 guys beating on him, and just walks and
oh,
laughs.
easy peasy, bro. Then you'd go four piece triumphant, and you'd go 5 piece defensive solve, and then you'd go middle tree, go up to like it's called like vigilance or something like that. It lowers damage by like 50% that you take, so basically it gives you like a, like a 50% damage reduction, and then you can go like you can tactic into it. So you'd be like the absorb tactic. You'd be like that tactic. You'd be your middle, go right up middle tree. So you'd be middle tree, right tree. So yeah, and then you just basically build defenses. So that's why you'd go like 5 piece defensive solve, because like there's like, what is it? It goes, I think it goes anti crit, then block. So you can get like, was it 6% block down to like 5 piece? I think like 4 piece is like 6% anti crit. So you get a whole bunch of anti crit, and like the boots have got like, so like the defensive side boots have got like some regen on it. I think the shoulders have got block on them. The cloak's got like block on it. And then you can go like with the triumphant, like the gloves for the triumphant have like 3% parry on it. So then you can like, and then you do, and then under your renown you just go like, you'd go reflexes, parry, you'd go defender, block, and then you'd think about like, do you want to start dumping your extra renown points into like toughness, and then just actually like stacking out your toughness and going to like 1,000 toughness. So you could do shit like that. That's what you'd be probably doing. And it, because like the proc for the 4 piece try is plus 7% block, dodge, parry. So then you'd end up being like nearly like, you'd probably be around 60% plus, probably around 60% block, parry. Both would probably be around the same. Might be a little bit higher parry, because you'd go coordination, which is the add 20% parry. So yeah, it'd be fucking nutty. So total you'd end up with like over 100% in total of defensive percentages.
And
So
th-
you get the 2 defensive rolls.
and then as I was thinking about it, I'm like, okay, it would be great for, as you like to call it, the memes. But I'm like, okay, after about 10 minutes of playing that, I'd be bored out of my goddamn mind, because I'd be like, okay, I'm getting nothing accomplished besides pissing people.
Yeah, well,
So,
you could go the reflex memes, the reflect memes where you'd go like you'd turn on the melee damage aura, right, and then you'd go in the right tree. There's like a tactic which adds on more damage to like the sun's blessing. So you can go like, there's 2 tactics you can take. There's like a tactic that can add on more damage to the reflect, and there's a tactic that can lower the cooldown by 50%. So the ability lasts for 10 seconds, but it's got a 30-second cooldown. And then if you take the second tactic, it will lower it by 50%. So then it'll go down to 15 seconds. So you could have like a 2/3 uptime. So it'd be up for 10 seconds, down for 5. So you'd have a pretty much a permanent reflect based on that. So you'd have a reflect and then you could turn on that melee damage reflect aura as well, which is like every 2 seconds it does damage back to melee attackers. And then you could run like the damage aura if you really wanted. So you could run like the regen aura because you're doing so many blocks and parries to keep your regen up. So it's like every 3 seconds. If you go max right tree, it goes to like 180 or 160 every 3 seconds, and it's better than the regen because it's every 3 seconds and not 4. So you could go that, and then say then you got the melee reflect, which is every 2 seconds. It's got a damage proc on melee, and then you can go the spirit damage aura, and because you got right tree, that's where your spirit resist aura is, which debuffs them, so it increases your spirit damage because you're lowering their defenses. So you'd probably do around like 80 damages, maybe 100 if you're lucky, every 3 seconds. So you can meme it with an AoE reflect, an AoE aura, a melee reflect, and then a sun's blessing, sun's perseverance. I think it's one. It's called one. It's a sun something, and you can do that every 15 seconds, and it ups the damage as well. So it's 150 elemental damage every time they hit you.
Yes, I'll take your word for it. um, so let's flip it here a little bit. Let's pretend. By the way, how are you doing? Are you completely wiped out, or are you still good to go for a little bit longer?
No, I've still got liquid, and my bladder hasn't
Okay,
exploded.
okay. Let's play a little game here. Let's pretend that the dev team, GM team says, you know what, Rage, you can only have one character to play. Of all of your characters, who are you playing and why?
One character. Holy shit. Mm. Oh man, I'm torn. I love playing my Black Hawk just because it's like the coolest looking class in the fucking game. It just looks so fucking cool. But it plays so fucking shit, so I'm torn. So, oh god. Mm, Oh god, hard pass. I honestly don't know. It'll take me bloody 10 minutes of bloody going through all the pros and cons in my head. It'd be. I like them all for different reasons. I honestly don't know. Chosen is real easy to use. You can do a whole bunch of stuff. It's got an undefendable. You can go spirit damage. Probably you'd have to say Chosen, even though they don't look as cool as Black Hawk. Oh man, oh no, Black. Oh, Black Hawk just looks so fucking cool. I don't know.
If RageProc could only play one character, for whatever reason, you're playing Chosen. Okay, that's fine.
Oh, I don't know.
It's not a test. Not a test.
It's a toss up. It's a toss up between the Black Hawk and the Chosen. As a Black Hawk memes, bro, blurst. It's just so fucking stupid, man. They just look so cool. They're so dumb, but they're so unoptimized and they play horrible. But Chosen plays so good, but it doesn't look as cool. So,
Okay.
I don't know. I'm torn between looking fucking cool but fucking being a complete fucking idiot and playing well but not looking as cool. I don't know.
So
I'm leaning to the side of fucking memes. I'm leaning towards Blurst.
okay.
And just the name. Fucking
Okay.
Yeah, but I like him Blurst just because he's a fucking idiot.
So let's switch up. Let's switch up the question again. So when it comes to streaming, since you also like streaming as you play, what game like streaming the most? Forget interaction with the community. What game do you enjoy streaming them?
Well, I stream ROI the most. I love it and hate it. Probably ROI. Bro, it's been such a toxic, like, abusive relationship. I've got like Stockholm syndrome at this point, so I have to say ROI.
So
I'm like the battered housewife that fucking made a sandwich fucking the wrong way one too many times, but yet I still go back. He'll change, it still loves me, still loves me. Fucking, you didn't put enough bloody turkey on my sandwich.
So what keeps you coming back to ROI though? Because I know for a while you went and you were playing WoW like ranked PvP or one death PvP or whatever it was called. And you did that for a couple months or several months. What brings you back to ROI if it is like a toxic symbiosis, relationship. What brings you? What keeps you?
Um, Probably, to be honest, like, how's the best way to put it? Like,
I mean, I know what
for as much as
I mean.
like,
I know what you're. I mean,
for as much,
I know what you're saying because I mean, like I said, I've been playing the game since 2016. I've been streaming since 2018, and I feel like every day I stream, half of my stream is saying this motherfucking game is bullshit, and I just rage for like hours about it. But the very next day, here I am logging on, starting the game up, start my stream, and I play, and then within an hour or two, I'm raging about it, but I do it day after day after day after day. So I understand the
why,
issues of why do I
you know,
do this. So what keeps you going?
um, I actually feel alive. Like, if that makes any sense, like, because because I'm like, I'm stuck in the house pretty much most of the time, because I say, like, I don't really have much of a life, I say, because I'm unemployable pretty much. So like, the internet's pretty much my life, and for good or bad, like, ROI makes me feel something, whether it's whatever. At least I actually feel human. Whether like, because it puts me through all the emotions. Like I say, I've met some of the nicest people, some of the coolest people, and I've had some of the most fun with the people that play ROI, and I've had some of the most toxic interactions and most angry, and like, I've had it all, but at least it's like a human interaction, and at least it's like as for good or bad, like, at least I'm alive, and at least it reminds me that I'm alive and I have the option, and it reminds me that, like, it could be a hell of a lot worse. The fact that, like, I can come into a meme fucking private server and then have a really good experience, and then I can have a really bad experience. But at the end of the day, it's better than 90% of the world, because one, I'm on the internet, and two, I have this option to be able to, play a computer game, for whether it's good or whether it's bad, like, so yeah. Short answer, it makes me feel something, whether it's good or it's bad. At
Okay.
least I'm feeling something,
And
and for someone that, like, yeah,
and
so I feel alive, I guess.
and not
I feel human.
and not to go all psychology because I am certainly not a psychologist here. Do you not have that same feeling with something with like Star Wars: The Old Republic or WoW or anything else? Do you not get the same feeling? What makes Return of Reckoning special in that regard for you? Like, because they're
Oh,
all kind of the same genre, all kind of the same thing. They both have their pros and cons. They both have assholes and great people. You get, I'm assuming you get interactions with people in all these games. What is it about Return of Reckoning that is different for you?
um, for me, um, I don't know, it just like hits nostalgia, I guess, like,
Okay.
with the time in my life and stuff like that. So on multiple levels, like, let's say you got the nostalgia. Like, I just love Warhammer. I grew up around Warhammer, so one, I love Warhammer, and then two, like, let's say for the good or the bad, like, this is a private server, so, like, I guess, like, when I talked about the whole family sort of thing before, like, we're all on the same boat, and whether I, like, call people a fucking bitch or a cuck or whatever because they're doing meme shit or fart sniffers or whatever like that, like I'd call my brother that, like, it is what it is, like, I'm like, that's the thing. It's like, so I don't know, like, we're all in it together, and we don't have to be here because it's a private server, and like, I think that we're all here because we love Warhammer in general, and I think people are generally, whether it's good or whether it's bad, I think people are a bit more passionate here. It's not as, and because it's not as mainstream, and like, you see other games and stuff like that, they're all mainstream. Like, this is a private server, an unbalanced, broken private server, and we're all still here. And like, I think, like, we need to, like, remember that, which is, as I whether love it or hate it, or we're all in the same boat. And I forget that, and that's when I, like, and that goes back to, like, the feeling something, like, at least, like, when I go on my rants and I get annoyed, it makes me realize that, hey, like, it could be worse. At least we do have something to play, and that's when it gets the old, I'm not mad, I'm disappointed, and I'd want other people to be, like, just as passionate as well, and, like, want the game to be the best it can be instead of it just resting on its laurels, and yeah, I think we can all do better, especially me. I know I definitely can.
No, no, I fully, I'm right there with you. Like again, I go on these, 20, 30 minute rants about something that in itself is inconsequential. It's a small part of the game, but I get pissed off and agitated, and I feel like it ruins my attitude, but I just can't help do it day after day after day. So, and then I keep coming.
Addicted, bro.
I,
Addicted.
I,
Get
I,
that fucking. The
I
brain starts pumping that. We're just addicted, bro.
yeah,
Our brains are just a pharmacy pumping out the drug.
I keep coming back now. So let's play another game, and let's say Return of Reckoning does exactly what Age of Reckoning does. They say this is the last week. After Friday, it's shut. It's down. It's closing. What does RageProc do, and what does RageProc play?
Holy shit. Well, I don't know, to be honest. Like, I honestly don't know. Like, 'cause I say, like, WoW gets boring. Like, everything gets boring to me. Like, I don't know. Like, I honestly don't know. I'll probably just end up just watching more manwire and stuff like that. I end up just binge watching stuff until I run out of fucking shit to watch to keep my brain occupied. And honestly don't know. Like, there's nothing really I do want to play because it's like everything's broken and like the gaming industry's so far from what it should be, and we don't, and it's been like there's I don't know. I wouldn't really want to play Final Fantasy. I want them to bring WildStar back, but we don't have that. Rift is fucking dead because of the monetization, so that's pretty much dead. So there's no Rift. There's WoW's a bloody theme park, bloody watered down version of what it was, and it's fucking poorly optimized, so I can't even do that. There's no world PvP in it. Oh god,
Is there
something that's got world PvP. I don't know.
is there any games that are coming out that has rage procs, on your radar that you're like, oh, you know what, I might give this game a try when it comes out in 6 months, a year, 8 months, 3 months, whatever it may be. Is there anything out there that you're like, you know what, I'm watching this, I'm keeping my eye on it. This is what I might try to transition to. Anything like that or no?
No, not really. I haven't really seen anything. Like, it's everything that thinks I'd. Like, I was wanting Star Citizen honestly to come out. Like, I'm a thousand USD deep in that fucking piece of shit game that's never gonna come out. So I'd really like them to actually finish that fucking shit so I can like be a fucking space pirate and be a fucking degenerate in space. But God, add another 10 years, people are dying before the game's even coming out. So I would like them to actually do Star Citizen, to be honest, but God knows when that's going to come out. And then even then, like, will computers be able to run it? Like, as I don't really have because I've got a mortgage and stuff to pay, and because like streaming ROR is such a niche sort of a game, so you're never going to get sort of mainstream. I'll never be able to make money off doing ROR, so to be able to like, I'll never get sponsorships and all that sort of stuff, and then add my like my habit of, well, not my habit, but I find it very I forget to have filter engaged because my brain's always constantly running about something, so my brain's saying shit before my filter will engage because my brain's not even engaging the filter side. So I'm like, I say too many like I say a lot of dumb shit, which is like my thoughts at the time, which is like whether it's good or whether it's bad, and I just meme about a lot of stuff, and I've got like no real filter, and like what I find funny is like, as I like everything's funny to me, which which is not like good for like mainstream. So I don't have, and plus my life choices, I just don't really have mainstream appeal. So I don't know if I ever be able to play Star Citizen, because if it ever does come out, like the rigs that you'll need will be like absolutely astronomical, because it's like butchered up CryEngine. So I would like Star Citizen, to be honest, but it's so broken, and like I can't stream it because like I don't even have, like, you need, because it's so poorly optimized, you need a huge gaming PC to run it nowadays. If you wanted to run Star Citizen now, you need a decent rig, and my computer is not good enough to run because I've got like a 360 Ti, what 6 or 8 gig or whatever it is, and to run that game you need like what you start need like dual graphics cards, getting into like the 12 gig plus 16 gig graphics cards mixed with like 90 gigs worth of RAM and shit. Like it's absolutely astronomical what you're gonna need to run that bloody game. So I can like turn it on and stuff like that and play it, but like if I was wanting to do like the space battles with what they say they're supposed to come out with like massive ships and stuff like that, I don't see it happening, and I don't see it happening in the next 5 years. I don't know if there's any like decent MMOs coming out. I was well wondering about what's going to happen with Monster Hunter, if that's going to be an MMO or not. I don't know what they're doing with the new Monster Hunter, but if there was an MMO, I'd consider Monster Hunter.
Okay,
So TLDR, Monster Hunter, if it's an MMO.
okay. I mean, I'm kind of with you in the sense of like that's another reason why I stream and play Warhammer, as much as I do is because I don't have the funds to go out and buy like a high end game system. I build my systems as like a system like over time. So like I'll like I'll build a system at once every like couple of years. I'll upgrade a piece to my system to make it 5% better, and then in a couple more years down the road I'll upgrade a piece to my system to make it another 5% better. So I'm not really able to play a lot of these brand new AAA titles in a fidelity that I would like to play them in, and also stream them in a quality that I would like to watch somebody else stream them in. So I don't, and I can't afford to buy these 70, 80, $90 games because I'm a poor man. So that's one thing that about Warhammer or Return of Reckoning that allows me to do is A, it's free, and two, you could almost play it on a potato. So there's no entry. Play it. Almost anyone can play it. And streaming it is pretty easy to stream it from a computer standpoint. That's also one reason why I keep doing it over all these years. I would love to play a AAA game. Like for example, I've been looking at like the Dune game. The Dune game coming out is on my radar. But can I play Dune at 1440p and get 60 to 100 frames consistently while I stream it and play it on a high quality level? I not be able to. And am I gonna go out and spend 60, $70 to find out? Nope, certainly not going to because I can't afford to do so in that regard. So I'm gonna play Warhammer. That's where I'm
You're not
at.
missing out on anything with June. June PvP looks garbage.
Well, I mean, maybe. I mean, I have some. There's some people. Like I have a couple friends. You know, uh, Tough Monroe's playing it. He enjoyed it for what he did. Ravzar, he's a former Return of Reckoning player. He's he played it. He liked what he did in the closed beta. So I'm kind of relying on other people, but I've never played it myself, and I just can't afford to take the risk at it. So that's one reason why I play Return of Reckoning as much as I do, stream as much as I do. Um, so besides for you, and we'll close it out here fairly soon, here, unless anyone in the stream has questions. What other hobbies do you like to do besides PC gaming? I know you said that you're kind of at home a lot, things like that. So you mentioned TV binging. What else do you like to do? Kind of, we also kind of talked about, you love KFC and things like that. But what else is out there that you like to, hobby wise? Are you a board game player? Do you like doing tabletop? What else do you like to do for hobbies, fun, time wasting, whatever?
Nothing really. MMOs and the internet ruined my patience for analog stuff. Like I used to do, like growing up and stuff like that. Like all my, let's say, like nothing really nowadays. Like I, I don't, as I don't have the money for tabletop Warhammer or anything like that. Wouldn't mind painting miniatures and stuff like that. That'd be kind of interesting. But due to like everything now, my brain kind of like has been like overstimulated with the internet for what going on. God, I don't know how many years. I don't know if I'd ever be able to actually like just sit and focus on something analog like that. I could probably do painting for a while, but I'll probably get bored. There's too much information on the internet, like too much visual stimuli, whether it be series or documentaries or stuff like that. My brain just likes consuming, I guess, visual stimuli. So, yeah, like stuff I used to like. As I wanted to be working on my car and stuff like that, but like I say, because of my back, I can't work on my car. So my car's sitting up on stilts. If my back wasn't hurt, I'd be like trying to fix my car and doing all that sort of stuff and doing car stuff. But it's been so long since I've done car stuff that it's depressing to thinking about it, having a rotary sitting in the bloody garage, that I used to like,
You have a
boost
Mazda?
around on. Yeah, Mazda
You
RX-7
have an
13B,
RX-7?
like a
Oh
Series
my
7.
god.
Yeah,
Oh, you and I could talk about
yeah.
that all day long.
Oh yeah, brat. Full cut Bridgeport.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
like got a new engine and parts sitting there. Got a big brake upgrade. Rear seat delete, and it was at like 420 horsepower at the rear wheel and 18 psi. So it's got like a two-way LSD and shit like that. And yeah, it's a 97, so it's a Series 7. So
Nice.
it's a 96. It's a 96. It's a 96 Series 7. Yeah, 13B, and like the engine I got like the primaries and the secondaries have been like bridge ported, CNC bridge ported from like a racing place, so it would have a deep rut because it's like full cut Bridgeport, so it'd be literally like it used to like shake on the line like when it because I had solid engine mounts, so when it'd be at the, like,
Mm-hmm.
when it'd be at the lights, the car would literally rock with the rut, so it'd be like rut
Mm-hmm.
and rut and rut, and then fucking what and fucking tile wastegate, 60 mil wastegate, fucking, oh, bro.
So
I used to love that shit.
do you ever go to like
Night
do
driving.
you ever go to like car events and things like that these days, or just you just don't? Just
No,
don't or
there's nothing
can't?
here, like, where I ended up is like, how's the best way to put it? It's like the east coast of the North Island. It's not like super populated. It's not like a big city. So it's like a small to medium sized place. So there's like literally nothing fucking here apart from like the beach and stuff like that. So if you like doing like outdoorsy stuff, which I can't do, there's not really a hell of a lot. Like if I want to like get my car worked on, there's no like dyno tuning place. If I wanted to get
Mm.
my car dyno tuned, I'd have to quite literally put it onto a trailer and then transport it for like go for a bloody 6 to 8 hour drive to Tauranga or Napier.
So
Yeah,
there's
like
so there you might not maybe you will know this reference, maybe you won't. So there's no Mighty Car Mods place around you. If you know who
no,
Mighty Car
no.
Mods is, okay.
Yeah, it's the YouTube channel.
They're Aussie car channel. I used to watch them for like a decade, but I haven't watched them for a while. But yeah,
Yeah,
um,
they're in Oz. Yeah,
okay,
I love rotaries, bro. Fucking oh, bro, they're just so fun to drive. Night driving when you change gear, the fucking downshifting and shit like that. Big
yeah,
flames out the back, just
yeah,
lighting up the sky.
yeah,
Oh yeah, bro. Fucking
yeah, yeah. No,
oh that fucking oh, bro. Just thinking about it, I wish I could just get in and boost it around. Oh my god,
yeah,
18-pound boost is fucking oh.
I
I'd
used,
love to be in America, bro.
I used to have. I mean, I never got into because like RX-7s. Same thing with like GTRs, things like that. Really popular here in America, but really expensive. So I was never able to, get into them myself. But I always got into, like, you know, domestic, 2 liter supercharged vehicles, and and my last one, I had like last one I ever did. I had a 2007, had a supercharger in it, pulled the supercharger out, pulley kit, all that stuff, and I just love to hear it whine. I would just sit there and just clutch in
Yep.
and just we. I just love to hear the supercharger whine. Um,
Oh yeah. Yeah, the smell of petrol. Oh my
yeah,
god.
yeah.
Uh,
I would, it was corn fed. You know, so I'd go to the gas pump and I would start it up and stand in the back, and you could just smell the fuel because it was so inefficient. But
Um,
you know,
yeah.
I loved it.
Uh,
Go to car events, go to drift shows, go to drag strips, street racing, all that kind of. When I was younger, now I'm old and broken down, and knees don't work right, and now I drive. Now I drive a family SUV. Go camping and things like that. So that whole world's behind me, but I certainly do miss.
oh yeah, did I?
Yeah. Okay. So I mean, if anyone no other questions in this stream, uh, so Rage, I really appreciate your time. The whole time we've been streaming here, the server has been borked. I don't know if you know that or not. The server has been basically none of the zones can be ranked up. None of the zones can be leveled up. None of the zones can be happening. So all the zones this entire time we've been streaming, the whole
Really?
server's
Can
been
you check
borked.
mailboxes?
I
When I
mean,
when I logged out yesterday before the servers went down, I couldn't even open access the
now
mailboxes.
now the mailboxes did work because I was able to go on my Lobby IB and grab some mail. So that's working. But Thunder Mountain, no population. Reichland, no population. Calidor, of course, has population, but why? Because of bridges. But they're both 0 star.
Nice.
They're both 0 stars, and you got that going.
Oh my god, people are playing the game for the love of playing the game. Holy shit! You just had to take away all their fucking rewards.
Well, I
Yeah,
don't know if they're
they
playing the game
take a
because
photo, bro. Those are the true diehards on those bridges. Holy shit.
yeah, I'm sure they're just standing on the bridges talking about their kill counts. But anyway, I appreciate your time. I hope you had a fun time. I really did.
Oh,
I'm
I did, bro. My favorite subject's myself, so bro, you ticked all my boxes.
well, you are more than welcome to come into my stream. We can do this again in the future if you ever want to. Let me know and say, hey, I want to do another 3 hour talk session. And I'll be, you know what? I'll make the time for you and we'll do it again. You're always more than welcome. I really enjoyed it. I hope
Nice.
the
Well, at least your stream knows I'm not a complete piece of shit now. I'm only like 50% piece of shit.
you know, I, whatever.
Hey, you're supposed to say no, no, no,
I,
Jesus.
I've said this in the past. I stay away from the. I try to stay away from community drama. I don't care about who says what about who. I don't care who likes who. I don't care who hates who. Everyone's welcome on my stream. Everyone's welcome to have their time. Everyone's welcome to say and do and have their fun. I don't care in what click. I don't give a shit.
Nice.
So you're always
Well, thanks for
welcome.
having me.
You're always welcome. You're always welcome to come back. And like I said, I hope you enjoyed it. And if you ever want, to run around, play, you're always welcome to do it. I love playing against you. You're a fun person to play against. I don't care if I win or lose. It's just fun. So, keep it going. And
Nice.
I'm gonna let you go and let you do your thing. And I appreciate your time. So thank you very much and have a great day, Rachel.
Sweet. Thanks for having me. Bye, everybody.
You have a great one and bye bye.
See.